Welcome to From Rock Bottom, the podcast where we explore real stories of struggle, survival, and strength. Each weekly episode features honest conversations with people who faced mental health battles, addiction, trauma, and life's darkest moments, and found a way to rise again. A quick content warning: some of the topics we discuss may be distressing or triggering. We talk openly about mental health, addiction, and other sensitive issues. Please listen with care, and if you need to, take a break or reach out for support. You're not alone, and this space is here to remind you of that.
Boom, and we are on. Today I am joined by Ted Shirley, someone I have been looking forward to interviewing for around 10 weeks now. I got in touch with him when the idea was in fruition for the podcast. I took a big interest in his story. Ted has an upcoming book coming out. He gave me a copy, which I have read cover to cover. It is a fantastic read. Today he's here to talk about it, about his journey in the British Army and his struggles afterwards with PTSD, survival, and getting through it all. Ted, how are you doing?
Yes, mate, thank you very much for having me. I'm great, yeah.
Oh, mate, it's fucking awesome for you to be here.
Cheers,
Like I said before we started, I feel like I know everything about you, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing though, isn't it?
Yeah. But like I said, you got your upcoming book, which is out.
November 30th, yeah. 6 weeks now from today.
Yeah.
Yeah, rapidly approaching.
It is a brilliant read. Trust me, and after listening to this, you're going to want to go out there, pre-order it, buy it, get it for Christmas. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, get it for Christmas, yeah. I keep forgetting it's Christmas time, yeah. The dads will love it.
They will. Right, Ted, just like everyone, I like to take it back to the start. Start me from your childhood.
Childhood, so I'm from a little small town in North Wales, and it was great. Childhood was fantastic, mate. It was all very much, for me though, it was very much geared for a life in the military. My dad had been in the Falklands, so I'd sort of grown up, and a lot of people around me had been in the military, the army and things like that. So I'd grown up hearing all these stories, and I thought, yeah, that's a bit of me, that. So school and stuff, I just coasted through. The only thing I cared about was getting in the army and playing guitar. that was it, yeah. So off I went, mate. Yeah, as soon as I finished school.
But normal kid growing up.
Yeah, normal kid, mate. Playing rugby and messing about and getting into trouble and just being a young lad.
With your dad serving in the Falklands.
Yeah.
Was that ever spoke about?
It was, yeah. It wasn't talked about in a way that would sort of, be negative or, anything like that. There was nothing bad ever spoke about really. Or if there was, obviously certain things would happen over there. It was exciting to me at the time. It was never something that I took as a warning or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was all just more stuff to make me dive into this career that I wanted so much, to be honest. I wanted my own versions of these stories, and I wanted to meet these kinds of people and go these places,
Yeah.
I wanted a life of excitement and adventure.
What was your dad's experience in the army? Like, obviously I know he was in the Falklands and now it's not his interview, I'm not looking for his tour, but did he come back positive or negative about the army?
He was in the Navy, so all I ever heard were positives.
Okay.
To be honest, I wasn't born at the time, but yeah, all I ever heard was, I heard about stories of him getting in trouble and things like that, which it just all excited me.
Yeah.
All of it, yeah. To be honest, and other people's parents and things like that, they'd been in the forces, they'd go on about all these things, and it was very much something that it was the only thing I wanted to do. Yeah, that was it. It was, my life was geared, to serve.
Yeah, it's just, I only ask that because I've interviewed other veterans in the past whose fathers were also in the military,
Right.
and it was like to gauge did their fathers ever experience bad things and then try and put them off? But no, it was all...
No, there was never any of that. No, it was always positive.
That's good. So what age did you enlist?
Oh, bloody hell! I was 17. 17 I first started. I went through some hiccups and dramas. I broke my foot in the end, which ended up me getting out because this foot just wasn't healing, and then got back in at 18. Was it 18 or 19? 19, I think it was, sorry. And then went to training in Catterick in North Yorkshire. Horrible. But I loved it. It was good.
So you do your basic training and then tour of Afghan?
Yeah, first one, 2008.
How old was you?
20. I was 20 years old. So I'd just been finished basic training and stuff, went to Cyprus, which was great. Obviously that was very exciting for a young lad to get based over in Cyprus, halfway between Paphos and Ayia Napa.
Yeah.
Weekends were good. But yeah, so we were part of a quick reaction force. We deployed for a pretty short 4-month tour in 2008 to a place called Musakala, which was a very, very busy district, and our job was to look after things like foam masts and stuff like that, and go on general patrols around the area with various other units. Yeah.
How was it before going out? Like you're going, lads, we're going out to Afghan. What's your mindset? As a young 20-year-old?
Very excited.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait. I was... Obviously, I didn't know what to expect. I had an idea. I'd heard all the stories, and obviously, you kind of know what you're getting into. But yeah, it was a very exciting time. I couldn't wait to get there, to be honest. And as soon as we landed there, I couldn't wait to sort of get into the job.
Yeah,
and that was it. Yeah, and sort of see what it was all about. And we quickly did, which was a bit of an eye opener, but not in a shocking way. It was, oh right, okay.
How was it getting shot at for the first time?
It was surreal, to be honest. I started to laugh, just not, I don't know, it wasn't nerves or anything like that. It was just this culmination of, for so many years, I'd wanted to do this job, and it was finally happening. So it was like, I don't know, it was like a professional football player playing their first match or something, It was exciting, and it was something that straight away I realised training kicks in, and you know what you're doing. And then once that sort of level of comfort settled in with me, there was no stopping us then. It was and I was loving every minute of it. Every minute.
How was it in terms of losses on the grounds for that tour?
We had none. Yeah, we were alright, touch wood. We were good. We had
a successful tour for you all.
For us, yeah, we had some counterparts that were working with us that had some casualties and stuff like that. But our group, ourselves, we were all good. Yeah.
So you did 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months.
Coming back full of confidence.
Yeah, that
eager
was
to get back.
Very eager to get back, but also eager to sort of once I'd kind of, I don't know, proved myself almost. I knew that I didn't just want to be a rifleman. I knew that I wanted to be a sniper, and I knew I wanted to elevate beyond that in the future. So it was very much a case of come back and sort of put my head down and work hard and learn as much as I could from everyone around me that had been in for years before, until it was kind of time that I went, well, yeah, I feel ready to try and become a sniper.
How come, because you've done all your training, come second nature, you're now shooting at people.
Mm-hmm.
First tour, you're getting shot at, you're shooting back.
Yeah.
Trying to take a life, obviously protect yourself, protect others, and then you want to go to a sniper, where you're more guaranteed kills.
Yeah.
How come you wanted that route?
It was that sort of.
Without it sounding morbid.
It wasn't really anything to do with wanting to make sort of life-ending shots or anything like that. It was more the fact of I didn't want to just blend in. I wanted to stand out. I wanted to do something elite and sort of prove to myself that I could do these things. And for me, it was just a step in the right direction to where I wanted to end up in my career.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was more a
way of standing out.
Yeah, a way of standing out and sort of proving to myself that I can do this stuff.
Yeah.
And I liked the challenge. It was very, very challenging.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
So then we go to start your book. Group of Welsh lads, all selected for sniper training.
Yes. what a good crack that was.
There's one story in your book that I love, and I want you to tell it.
Okay.
But I love it about training. I've told a few people about it because I get excited over this stuff. I'm a man, I like guns, I like bang bangs.
Yeah.
You get a member of government come down.
Oh, yeah.
It says, snipers are a thing of the past.
Yes.
Tell that story.
Yeah. So that's throughout, sort of, since the Second World War in the British Army, this has been a thing where snipers come in and then they get disbanded and then realise, oh yeah, we need them. So we were very much sort of, into the Afghan conflict at this point. So budget cuts and all sorts of things, redirecting budgets to different places was very much on everyone's minds. So yeah, this fella in a nice suit came to the shooting range to sort of see whether snipers, because it's very expensive to train a sniper, to see whether it's actually worth the money or whether riflemen and machine gun groups can do the same sort of thing. So this guy's turned up to the shooting ranges with a machine guns team, and we've all gone out to the ranges, and the idea was that varying distances targets would pop up, and then each team, be that sniper team or machine gunners, would deal with the targets, would see how many rounds it took, how long it took. Off the top of my head,
I know your time.
Was it? Go on.
18 seconds.
18 seconds. Yeah, so it took us 18 seconds and no rounds missed. And it took the machine gunners I think it was about a minute and a half, something like that. And
about a minute and 18, top of my head.
Was that what it was? Yeah, something like that. Freshly read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, so we just blew them out of the water. And that for us was a kind of, because it's the Welshmen it was us that got selected to do the shooting out of, all the people on the course. And we're not even qualified snipers at this point. So it was very, very nice. There's also a little story in there as well about what one of the lads did to this suit fellas.
Yeah. Feel free to tell it.
Yeah, no, I think you'll have to buy the book for this one.
Yeah, it might be a bit much.
Yeah, but we got our own back on this suit anyway.
Did he bring the machine gunners with him?
No, not him personally.
Yeah, but arranged it.
Yeah. So they'd come from a camp in Edinburgh.
Because when I read it, it's like we're going to have a shooting competition, targets popping up, different distances.
Yeah.
And then we're going to see who can take them out the quickest. And you thought machine gunners, because of the team as well.
Yeah.
Spraying.
Yeah. It's if you think about a machine gun platoon, a machine gun section, it might take them 10 rounds to first of all get the initial first shots off. So by the time you've got 8 of them ripping hell out of things, the money's going up and up and up and up and up. And it became, that's it. Yeah, and it ended up like a resounding success for us because it was just so obvious,
And you wasn't even trained at this point fully.
No, that was it.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a long, long way to go. Yeah, definitely.
How was it, because obviously you being Welsh, training, how important was it to have the other Welsh lads around you?
Yeah, big time, yeah. It was very important. It was something that we were going to be deploying together, so we wanted to be the best. We wanted to know that our 6 months away on this course was going to mean that we'd go back to our units and then be the assets, the force multipliers that we needed, So it was good, and then we had this internal sort of thing that we want to be the best on this course, and we had a right good crack. We were so tight knit. The brotherhood sort of bond between us. There was, out of all the Welshmen, there was 2 battalions worth that sort of got sent there. So there was my lot from my unit, and then the other Welshman from the other unit, who then later deployed before we deployed to Afghan. So yeah, it was good. Although we weren't all sort of going at the same time, and that we were definitely striving to be the best.
Yeah,
we got on like house on fire. It was so good.
You can see it in the book. Like I'm reading, and you sound like during training, you're going on an op the next morning, and you lot are all sat around together, prepping, getting all your kit laid out, going through the final things.
It was. Yeah, we were a little family, mate. Yeah. It'd be the middle of the night. We'd all be sat on the edge of our bed and making sure that everyone's got the right stuff, checking each other and making pulling someone up if that doesn't look right, or and we'd just be looking after each other. Yeah, It was nice, mate. It was the epitome of a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clearly laid out in your book. That's what it was.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Hitting a coin from 1,000 meters.
Yeah, that was something that we just used to do all the time. That. How? Practice. Lots and lots of practice. So we'd sort of go on the shooting ranges and day in, day out, we'd just be sending rounds all day.
Did you find you were naturally good at shooting, or was it something you got better at?
There was an element of being sort of becoming natural. Yeah, the shooting side of it. I'd always been a good shot. But yeah, once you're sort of talking those kind of ranges, 1,000 meter range, there's a lot more that goes into it rather than just naturally being a good shot and having that sort of natural instinct. There's a whole world of lessons that you have to know, not just sit in and listen to. Like, you have to know each and every bit of these things to sort of do those shots. Yeah, and
that's what I was going to touch on. Like for me and so many of the listeners, it's going to be completely new and it's fascinating. Like, you're picking a shot 1,000 meters away.
Yeah.
How do you take into account, especially in a war zone as well, wind velocity?
Yeah, all that sort of
calibers.
stuff.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
for a sniper to be able to do that sort of thing
under pressure as well.
Yeah. I talk about in the book my bubble, which would be this sort of just this concentration and this level of almost like a meditative state where you have to be calm. If you're not calm, you're not going to make these shots. If your heart's going like crazy and you sort of, your hands shaking and that, you're not going to make these shots. So it's something that comes with one training, and then experience. The more you get shot at, the more it doesn't really bother you. And then a lot of the time it would be a case of, rounds would be inches past my head.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really notice, I'd hear it, you'd hear the little whistle that goes past and whatever,
But look, in training, how did they drill that into you? But you are getting shot at and you will still go work out wind velocity and looking for like flags, for example, and testing the wind that way. Like, how?
I think it's just a level of concentration. You can't teach someone how to react at being shot at. You sort of do things when you're in basic training where they'll fire like machine guns overhead, so you kind of hear what it's like, but it's not, the adrenaline's not there and stuff, and that's one of the biggest things is sort of, it's a personal journey really of how you control your adrenaline and your feelings, and that fear, because there is a fear there, and it's only in sort of hindsight looking back you go, oh yeah, that was actually a scary situation.
Yeah.
At the time it wasn't.
Yeah. Was during training as well, in your book you mention it a lot, physical demands. There's one bit, I'll write the notes down, you're crawling for hours.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 32 now, I ain't built for that anymore. I don't think I ever was built for it. Like, the thought of me just getting filthy and muddy and then just having to sit around and lie around like that for hours. Like,
yeah, all day, every day, you're just on your stomach all day. If there is a ditch full of water, that's your route. That's where you're going. Do you know what I mean? It's you're looking for the smaller, especially on your approach to a target. You're looking for the darkest, least obvious approaches. So that is always. It's always going to be in the mud and in between the rocks and all the all the horrible stuff.
But was you ever lying in a puddle, fucking pissing to the side here, and all that stuff, like for 6-7 hours, and thinking, what the fuck am I actually doing here?
No, I never ever thought that. I never thought, what the fuck am I doing here? It was hard at times, when you're freezing cold and you're trying to lie still and you like you say, you're just leaning over to have a piss next to you, or being an OP and you're shitting in a bag and you're putting it back in your kit. Them sort of things, you're like, this is extreme, this. But that it all becomes a part of it when you're going through all these things for months and months on end, and every single day is hard as fuck. things don't seem that hard after that, you know, whether it's on tour or wherever
Yeah.
you are, you know, once you've been through that sort of, it changes you. It changes the way your mentality is, the way your brain works. You sort of, you don't see problems, you see solutions, and you become unflappable. You know,
Just go do it.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, there's a job to be done. It's my job, and that is it. You know,
Yeah.
it might be at the end of the day, you might sort of go, "That was shit. That was horrible. I'm freezing, and you know, I'm cold to the bone."
Yeah.
But
It's done.
you just crack on.
Yeah.
But then there's the side of the people, like some people can't deal with that, and they wouldn't make it through the course.
Yeah. What was the completion rate?
Oh, bloody hell! I don't really know, to be honest. It was so the whole thing starts off in like a pre-selection phase, which is done in your home units, which I think there might have been 10 or so, maybe 15 units that had sent their top blokes to be tested then on the course. That course then broke down. I think there might have been like, I don't know, maybe 8 left at the end of the course, something like that. I know it was a massive drop.
So about 50%.
No, I think it was bloody hell. I'd probably say 20%, and that's being generous. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
How did it feel getting through that? Like knowing
it wasn't this mad like success because we had our orders and we were deploying soon. It was very much right. That's done. On to the next thing, and then we were like sent away onto like medic courses, getting our tickets for various driving, you know, all sorts of vehicles and things like that, and then we were off to Kenya. So it was very, very rapid, you know, from coming back from that first tour in Afghan, packing up, leaving Cyprus, coming back to the UK. It was just non-stop, bang, bang. Yeah.
How was it though for you, for morale, seeing some of the lads drop out, especially if they're good pals?
Yeah, that was a bit shit. It was shit to see people leave, but it was also, it gave you a little bit of a buzz to think, oh yeah, I'm still here, but it's not really something that was on, it wasn't something that was on my mind for sure. It was just, I've got to get through this, because it's just so difficult. To, you know, it's a really hard course. And then when we were on this course and the SAS were doing their hills phase, their selection stuff, and you see their numbers dropping like fuck, and then our numbers were dropping like fuck, and before you know it, in the cookhouse, there's only a handful of people in there, and you're kind of going, oh. And it does make you feel a bit special in a way. You know, it sort of it brought out that, you know, standout thing I was talking about earlier, where, you know, once we'd completed this sniper course, we no longer had to go and do like runs with everybody or go and do the map reading lessons and this and that. We were on our own. This tiny sniper platoon of like, I think there was 8 of us in all in this sniper platoon out of like 1,000 men from our battalion. We just did our own thing, and it was great, and it was definitely the best thing to happen as well, because our training after the course then elevated because of our instructors. One of them was in our unit. He'd worked with special forces all over the world, so we had really good insight and lots of little tips and things that made a big difference to us all, and you know, brought us up to that decent level of sniper.
Yeah. Talk to me about Kenya, because there's some good stories about this.
Kenya was amazing.
So you go to Kenya. Did you do jungle training out there as well?
No, it was more just in the bush. So
what was the tribes like?
Tribes, that was mad, mate. It was
Describe the tribes. Start with a description of the tribes.
So we'd be out in the middle of nowhere, and you just all of a sudden you just see a group of men with like shields and spears and like on a mobile phone. You're like, what the fuck? Well, first off, how are you getting phone signal out here? It's literally the middle of nowhere. There's elephants walking around. It was mad, mate. It was like being in a film. We were seeing like, you know, baboons on a regular, do you know what I mean? And then massive, and lions and stuff, and you know, there's a story in the book about the lions. Yeah. Where we, I'll go into it briefly. We were on a little sort of recon op, and we were moving through this sort of really thick bush end area, and all of a sudden it just got dead warm, and we could smell this. I don't know. It was just this musty, weird smell, but we could sense something was going on. And it turned out it was a pride of lions that was stalking us through all these bushes. So like, come over the radio, stop, and we're all sort of flapping like mad, thinking we're about to get eaten. And it comes over, there's a herd of elephants in front of us. These lions are behind us, and it's like, fuck, what is going on? What is my life here? It was mad, but again, unflappable.
Yeah.
It was another one of those scenarios where everyone stays calm, and it's something that I know everyone brings to sort of Civvy Street once they leave, is that unflappability kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a very, very interesting few months over there.
What was it like interacting with the tribes and that?
We didn't have too much to do with them. We weren't sort of meant to have that much to do with them, but when it came to sort of any downtime or stuff like that, they'd be making these wooden carvings and all that sort of stuff, and they were getting like glass bottles of Coke from somewhere. I don't know where they were, like butt fuck nowhere, and they're like bringing over Coke and Fanta and stuff, making a fortune off us. But with if we run out of money and stuff, I ended up swapping a t-shirt and a pair of trainers for all these like animal carvings and this plaque that had the regiment on it and stuff. And it was the first time I and most of the lads had ever been anywhere that was just a massive culture shock. It was just like the sights and the sounds, the smells, everything. It was amazing. And for the first time, even though been to Afghan already and already been based in Cyprus, it really felt like I'm on this world journey here. Like I'm going to get some incredible experiences out of this career, which I did. Unfortunately, there wasn't too long to go after Kenya.
Yeah. So Kenya completed that. You finished your sniper training.
Yes.
You go home, ready to deploy.
Yeah.
And then you hear your friend Steve-O.
Yes. Yeah, so one of the Welshmen off the course from the other unit. He'd been there. I think he'd only been there a few weeks in Afghan after him and two of the other lads had deployed there, and his vehicle hit an IED, so an improvised explosive device that killed him straight away. And that was the first time it ever really felt real and personal for the first ever time. It was a very shit moment, that, because as we were talking about earlier, how close we were. I've never been in such a tight knit group. Us snipers, we were so bonded together. We loved each other like brothers would. So for that to happen, that really, it sort of kicked us in the teeth a little bit, the rest of us, and we were not too long away from deploying ourselves, a few months away, and it kind of changed things. And I know it changed things for all of us, because it started to make things, I don't know, based on anger a little bit, and there was resentment and this sort of feeling that we wanted to get revenge in a way. We wanted to avenge him. So yeah, it was difficult. Those sort of emotions are hard to juggle, and also then be as professional as you can be. Having that mindset and having that sort of upset before even deploying on our next tour was a factor. Didn't really realise it so much at the time how much it had affected me, but seeing his face on the news, like filling the TV screen, was just like, I can picture that. Like now talking about it, it doesn't have the same emotions attached to it anymore, but I used to picture that and see his face, and it would just fucking boil my blood. It'd get me so angry, and that was a driving force, And I don't know whether it was a good driving force or not, but I lived to tell the tale, so I don't know what was right and wrong, to be honest.
Did it scare you though?
It didn't. It didn't scare me. I imagine, I can't speak for everyone, but I know we were all in the same mentality, that we were being killed, potentially being killed, is something in an infantry soldier's mindset. It's something that it's part of the job. you accept the risk, and that's pretty much as far as it goes. You learn to live with it. You learn to live with the fact that I might not come home from here, and this guy here and this guy there might not come home. Which is the hardest bit of that for me was trying to keep that realisation away from family and friends back home.
Yeah.
I didn't want my job to be this massive upsetting factor for especially my mum. I didn't want to worry her, although she was obviously going to worry, doing that job. But yeah, you sort of in that closed down period before deploying, I personally started to close down all my emotions and feelings and became very numb, and it was a way of self-preservation, I suppose, but it was a way that I was able to I had a job to do and nothing else mattered. I had to be brutal and cut absolutely everything off. Anything that I was leaving behind was left behind and almost forgotten about. And it wouldn't be, it would go weeks or even months on end where I wouldn't speak to people back home once I'd deployed because of, various reasons. I was out on jobs or there was no phones and nothing could get to where we were. So it was it was shit, and going to his funeral was shit. But it also, walking into a massive church filled to the brims where the streets outside were lined with cameras and people supporting what had happened and supporting the British troops, and to see that and to see the send-off that he got was beautiful and humbling. It was nice, and it kind of made me think that okay, if I do go on this tour, if this is where I die, at least I'll get one of them, and that's cool.
That's what he deserves.
Yeah, it was very much that, and you feel stick a Welsh battalion in a church and you watch him sing, mate. Oh my god, it was like goosebumps. It was unreal, mate. Yeah, it was very cool, but very, very sad. And speaking to his, especially his mum afterwards, that was the first time I really got a lump in my throat speaking to his mum, because
you seen the pain elsewhere.
So yeah. And there was that part inside me that was like, I'm kind of doing this a little bit for her now as well.
Yeah.
Seeing her face looking at us, young lads, 20 years old, 21 years old, and she's knowing that we're deploying now and we're going to go there and we're going to do the same things and we might not come back. It's just 1,000 thoughts at once. Really. Yeah.
But what's horrible thought process as well, like you spend all this time training, like you back your own skills, you got the lads next to you and they're gonna fight to the death for you, and a fucking IED gets you. Do you know what I mean? It's unfair.
Yeah, very much so. It was the threat of IEDs out there was constant. It was that, and that was something that in the first sort of few weeks of going over there, it takes a little while to sort of get back into the mindset, I suppose, of every footstep is a daunting one because it could be anywhere. And by the time we'd got there, the tactics had changed and elevated on both sides. I was on the Taliban, and they were employing new tactics like, IEDs in waterways and the usual places that we would go through to use as a safe route, or putting them in trees. So there'd be like, rather than stepping on the ground and an explosion goes off, there'd be a bang in a tree down there where the rest of the platoon would be, or it was a very daunting idea, but it was something that kind of gets a little bit put to the way, like the fear of it all goes, like here's a classic example. One day you'll be sort of going with your metal detector, and then after a few months you're sort of going, that looks dodgy. And you'll just like step on it just to see if it is an IED. And that's the mentality of like, if it is, it is. And there's a lot of times where, me myself have gone, fucking hell, this is hard, I wish I just kept fucking shot. And then, you know, like, and those are real thoughts that go through your head, that like fleeting sort of, it's not fear, it's just not, it's not, it's not, it doesn't come in as a fear, but looking back, there was fear there.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? But I never noticed, like, I never once went, well, I'm scared. Like, I never thought that. I just thought, this might be the end. This is close. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is getting a bit tricky. But yeah, that's kind of how it went. The ID threat was just a horrible. It was like a nuisance that was constantly there, you know.
Yeah, sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with Steve-O's death, obviously your mum's seen it on the news. She was well aware. How did she change then with obviously you getting deployed? It's real then when somebody you know happens to them. It's more
real. Very much so. Yeah, and it was. She knew other parents of lads that were going and things like that as well from back home. Obviously, being a Welsh regiment, a lot of us are from the same area, so there was that element of the parents were there for each other a little bit. She knew that this guy'd keep me safe, and then his parents knew I'd keep him safe.
Yeah.
So it was it's just a really weird situation, mate. You sort of go in like, right, okay, see you later, guys. I might die, but I'm not gonna die, but I might, but I definitely won't.
I don't plan to.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely going to be coming back, but I might not.
Yeah.
But it's just so weird, mate. It fucks with your head. It does fuck with your head, and it takes a long time to be able to come back to normal after that, where, you know, you get to gauge what is normal and what's not. Like, fucking hell, some of the shit that me and the other people got up to after returning is not normal, but we thought it was absolutely fine.
Yeah. So you deploy back out to Afghan with a mindset you're gonna get a bit of revenge for Steve-O. It's just more fire under your arse. We're gonna put a stop to this.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it was it was another element. There was lots of elements there. You know, I was there to protect the people that lived there. That was my sole intention. So I've mentioned it a few times when people ask me, you know, why was I there? I don't know why the government sent us there. I don't know if we'll ever know. And it's not something that I'm going to concern myself with anymore, because it leads to nothing but anger, which I can't afford to have anymore. And so I turn the fucking news off anytime it comes on or anything. I avoid it all, like the bloody plague, because I fought so hard to get my life back to a happy place. I'm not going to let external things do that. But to be there and to fit, like, imagine you were in high school and someone was getting bullied. Would you say something to the bully or not? For me, the answer is yeah. So that's kind of the way I saw it. Was these people need help? I'm able and willing and want to help. So I'm going to go and I'm going to help them, and the bad guys can get the bad news off me. And that's kind of how I saw it. And then as you go through all these things and tours and stuff like that, and don't forget, you know, lads spread throughout the forces. It's not just your unit. So as things are happening to other people and stuff, it does change. It does put a sort of tint onto it of anger and aggression. But again, they're things that keep you alive in a situation like that. So it's hard to balance why you're there and staying alive and making sure your mates stay alive. It's a juxtaposition that's quite tricky to juggle. Yeah.
Look, you guys were out there because the Taliban are oppressing the locals, the population, trying to get them their way. And then how do you trust any locals? Because the Taliban don't wear uniforms.
Yeah, this was a big one for us. It's difficult. You learn to sort of spot signs, and you kind of get to know, he looks like he's dodgy, through various reasons. Too many reasons is all we go into. But we'd also have locals with us, who would be like either Afghan police or Afghan army interpreters. And they'd be able to say, like, he's not from here. He doesn't look like he's from here.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have a fucking clue half the time. But it was always a case of we wanted, like, the hearts and minds part of it. So we wanted to try and get kids back into schools. We wanted to sort of give people their lives back, get these marketplaces, bazaars back open and running, get people living their lives in safety again. And it was, our job was, we had to trust these people until they give us a reason not to.
Yeah.
Some people weren't to be trusted out of, the villages and stuff like that. Some people were drip feeding information, what we were doing, things to the Taliban. But then some people were, getting strong armed by the Taliban to go and find out what we were doing, or, there's situations where, like one in particular that I've mentioned, one of the units had a 5-year-old girl with a wheelbarrow full of explosives coming towards them. Right, so there's never any definites. Let's put it that way. Them people over there aren't definitely on our side, or they don't definitely want us here. So, some locals didn't want us there, and that was hard. That was quite hard for me to deal with, because it was like,
we're here to help.
We're here to help, like we really are, but what are you going to do? If foreign people are in your country and they're doing this and that, it's a hard thing to be able to do, like relinquish control and say, all right, then I'm going to trust this random foreign person that doesn't speak my language to keep me safe. Although our intentions were as good and as honourable as they could be, don't blame them for not trusting us, And sometimes we'd go to towns where there wasn't any kick-offs until we'd arrived, because the Taliban would come to us. And then villagers would be pissed off that we'd brought that sort of thing to where they lived.
Yeah, a lot of them just want to live in peace, and the British Army are attracting trouble, and we don't want trouble.
Yeah, the reality was, though, peace was just a wave that was very much going to be blown away very soon.
Yeah.
As Taliban moved through these places, they were not bringing peace, they were bringing absolute
terror.
Yeah.
How was it working with the Afghan army? Because you do tell a good story about that as well.
Oh yeah,
I love a story.
Yeah, about the Afghan Special Forces guys.
Yes,
oh
the
yeah.
Afghanistan Special Forces.
Yeah, they were mad, mate. They were like they were a bunch of lunatics that had been put together. I thought, they were crazy. So the story you're on about was we'd been out on a patrol, and we didn't really know there was too much going on. We didn't know what the area was like. We were just sort of probing various bits and bobs. But the Afghan Special Forces guys came with us, and they were all right. They seemed cool, they were nice enough. We'd have like wrestling matches and stuff with them, and we sort of we got on really well. We didn't speak the same language, but we
wrestle.
Yeah, that's how it went, mate. It was like a weird man bonding thing. Like we just play fight with each other. It was mad. We're trying to see if we'd do the higher spinning kicks. It was weird. It was fun, Just the language barrier was never really too much of an issue when it came to that sort of thing. Everyone smoked, so hand in someone a cig. That was it. You were mates. So we went on this job, and it was the first job we'd done with them. We'd been on stuff with the police and the Afghan army before, but not the Special Forces. No idea why they were the Special Forces, but they were. Well, it turned out it was because they were mad. So we'd been on this patrol, and it was coming over our radios, so the interpreter that we had was listening into Taliban frequencies and hearing what their plans were, which was basically, long story cut short, because you got to read the book, there was a big muddy field, and this mud was knee deep. It was horrendous. It was horrible. So their plan was for us to get in the middle of this field, and once we were all nice and stuck, that's when they were going to open fire. So, in, I'd say, typical British squaddy fashion, most contacts would be initiated by Taliban. So, you have rules of engagement, and these would change frequently depending on where you are, what job you were doing, this sort of thing. At the time, it was very much a case of get shot at,
shoot back,
hope you don't get hit, and then you're good to go. So give them a chance or two to shoot you, and if they do, they mean it, so then we can shoot back, which is a bit mad, but it's just, I don't know. What did they call it? Courageous restraint. That was it. That's what we used to call it. Yeah, I know, fancy word.
He died from courageous restraint, bless him.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Fucking hell. I've got a video back home of one of the lads. They're talking, and this is Afghan forces again, and they just go and smash the life out of this building. It's insane. And then one of the boys with a nice thick Welsh accent are going, "There's no courageous restraint there, is there?" As the Taliban getting smashed. Anyway, so this job, we're in the middle of this field and thinking, fucking hell, come on, man, open up, because we're knackered. You're carrying, say £80 plus of kit, sinking knee deep with every step, and that. Oh, it was tough, and it was one of those moments, like I mentioned before, where you think, fuck, wouldn't I just getting shot right now, and then this is done. And then, all of a sudden, on the road opposite where we are, we see just this fucking commotion of the Afghan Special Forces lads. Just ran, like fuck, just ran towards this machine gun fire that had just opened up, and we're like, what the fuck are they doing? So we're like, getting in these reeds and trying to watch what they're up to, poking our heads up. Next minute is bang, 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 boom, boom, boom. And then they start walking back. I'm like, fucking hell, you mad bastards. So it turned out, it was because they were mad that they were special forces. And then the enemy opened up then onto our side, which was, it was a strange contact because we couldn't bloody see anything. We could not see where it was. The position we were in, rounds were landing all round us, and we were like, where the fuck are these guys? Ended up with us snipers doing a sort of shot in unison through through a wall that took this guy out, and then it all stopped, and then we were able to extract and then go back and continue wrestling with the Afghans.
Yeah, every time I hear a story about the Afghan police, the army, the special forces, I remember when I was a kid, probably 16 or 17, this is when BBC Three was actually on telly.
Oh yeah.
And they followed the British Army, and they're getting contact, and the British Army are all taking cover, and the Afghan lads just stood up, RPG on shoulder, just out there.
Yeah.
Just zero fucks given.
Yeah, it was mad. I don't know whether it was just, I don't know whether it was they didn't give a fuck, they'd grown up all their lives around it, the training hadn't trained them to take cover, or I don't know what it was, but half the time they'd just fuck it off, mate. They'd just go, I can't be arsed, and they'd go off, and a lot of the time they often tits on opium or like stoned as fuck, and they'd just like get shot at, and you just see them pack the shit up and just walk off. And like, we're here to help you fuckers. Like, we're here to, like, you need to watch what we're doing, so in the future you could do it, and they just leave us to it, and then
Courageous restraint.
Courageous restraint, exactly. Word of the day there.
Yeah, courageous retreat, that is.
Yeah, courageous retreat.
Right, something else in your book as well. Paid enemy snipers.
Yeah.
Foreign snipers.
Yeah.
But this is very interesting.
Yeah, this was one of the points that was a very hot topic at the time when we deployed. So British troops were getting taken out by these snipers, and it was from reports and stuff. We knew that they weren't your average Joe out there, and we knew that they were trained and they knew what they were doing, which was quite scary. But also, as a sniper or as a sniper platoon, even, it was kind of like, right, well, they're our targets then. This is going to boil down to us versus them kind of thing. And between us, it was a very,
Sniper versus sniper.
Yeah, let's have a bit of that. Let's which sounds mad, but it's,
Where were they from?
What
What countries?
I don't. Well, lots of countries. Let's put it that way. Lots of different countries. There's one from Chechnya that we know about, but yeah, they were from all over the place, mate. That was one thing that opened my eyes, was bad people from everywhere were getting involved in this, which was fucking annoying, that, because you never really knew. Like there was blokes from Britain that were there on the opposition that just fucking, they would rub me up the wrong way. That I just thought, you shouldn't be here. This isn't that sort of thing. This is a conflict for the greater good of helping people live a life. This isn't just like, who wants to jump in and get involved in this?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. Did not like that one bit. Pissed me off. And then when we found out, hired guns were getting paid to sort of come and take people out, that was exciting. It felt like we were in the movies a little bit, and it was very much there was task forces, that were put together to deal with that. But then there's one day in particular that I talk about, where me and 3 of the other sniper lads and a bunch of other guys, small team of us, went to go and relieve some British troops that had been stranded by basically an enemy sniper that was just taking out anything that went near it. That was probably one of the most frightening experiences over there, and it was definitely one getting shot at by an enemy sniper who we could tell was very good, was something that stuck with me for years, and something that at the time it was kind of it wasn't terrifying, popping your head up and then inches away were a sniper round going. It was kind of just, oh fucking hell, well we can't do that, we'll try this, oh shit, no, can't do that. And it was frustrating that we couldn't do what we wanted to do. So I obviously in the book go into this story a lot in a lot of detail, but a very sort of quick version was having 2 towers in this compound where the other British troops were, and to our front was what looked like it looked like a typical war zone that you'd see in a film. You know, it was just bombed up stuff and holes here and there and just rubble everywhere, but a sniper's heaven, you know.
Yeah.
For us, sniper's hell, because we could not see this guy. We didn't see the guy in the end until he was taken out by Apache helicopters, which that annoyed us as snipers, to be honest. We were happy that this situation of almost imminent death was over, but
you wanted him.
Yeah, we wanted him. Yeah, and it pissed us off, man. It was annoying, but yeah, it's a very very gripping story, or at least chapter of the book.
Yeah.
Which as I was writing the book and writing that chapter, it was quite strange, to be honest. It was one of the more powerful chapters that triggered stuff, thoughts and emotions for me that I used to struggle with, which was it was a double-edged sword, because I was like, fucking hell, writing this stuff, I was like, that's scary shit.
Yeah.
Like, that is a hectic film-worthy day. And then on the other side, this day used to torment me.
Yeah, you experienced it, you lived it.
Yeah, like nightmares and flashbacks and intrusive thoughts about this would be constant for years and years and years on end, and it took a lot of therapy to actually get through it. So as I was writing this chapter, I was like almost smiling to myself, just thinking, you know, I'd never have been able to do this. I'd never have been able to talk about this situation without breaking down before, or being riddled with anxiety, and now it's gone, which is a massive part of this book, is to, you know, spread that message that it can go, you know.
Healing.
Yeah, you can heal. PTSD does not have to be forever, you know. Yeah. You just need to do the work. But yeah, there's a long way to go. Yeah.
We will get onto that, don't you worry.
God, yeah.
So obviously you go on several ops while you're in Afghan.
Yeah.
Few you enter via helicopter.
Yes.
Sometimes you mention these helicopters getting shot. But what's that like? Because again, it's like the IEDs, that is out of your control.
Yeah.
You are.
It was horrible, mate. I absolutely hated that. I liked being in a helicopter because it was cool as fuck, you know, but you get used to it, you know. Every job, more or less, you jump on a helicopter, go, get dropped off, and you're always on them, so it's quite cool. I don't like going on like roller coasters and that, though, but it was very similar to that, you know, just sort of going through the air. It's cool as shit, especially like going on Black Hawks where they're smaller and, you know, the doors are open.
Yeah. Very Black Hawk down there.
Yeah, mate, it was very, very cool. But as for getting shot at when you're in this tin can in the air, I hated it. It was horrible. It was one of those moments where, like, it was, for me, it was the closest fear ever got to getting in, because there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing I could do about the situation. Just had to hope that the aircrew and the pilots did their jobs, and, you know, the machine gunners on the tailgates and the side doors were fucking good shots that day.
Yeah.
You know, it was scary. So yeah, there's I don't know if you want me to go into it, that one day in particular with the as we were going on a big job after the American Special Forces had a bit of a kick in. Yeah, shall I go into it?
Yeah.
All right. So this morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, we're all on the airstrip and we get into the choppers, and as we're approaching the target location, all hell broke loose. So the Taliban were on the ground with Dushkas, they're called, anti-aircraft guns. These are fucking giant machine guns that are made for taking aircraft out of the air. They're huge. So they've opened up and they're whopping the side of this Chinook helicopter, and they're firing RPGs, and we're all sat there, you know, and I've mentioned it a few times, the lads who were religious were praying, and I was fucking making up all sorts of shit that I'd heard in films and stuff, and just sort of trying to get myself into this zone of, once that tailgate opened, anything could face us at the end of there. And that was another thing, the thought of the unknown, that was the scariest bit of, what the fuck, what's going to happen when we get down? Are they going to run over to us? Are they, like, how mad are these people? Like, what's going to happen? So as like machine guns and stuff are rattling away off the aircraft, we finally managed to land in this, again, ridiculously muddy field that we're all stuck to the floor with, but it's pitch black. So under fire, choppers are going off all over the place. We're sort of, chaos ensued basically. No one could see a bloody thing. Taliban are rattling rounds all over the place, and it took a few minutes. People got lost, they ended up in different sections, and it was every man for himself a little bit at first. After a little while though, the initial firefight came to a close, and we kind of knew, right, this isn't it. We know that's not it. That was just our welcome. So we then got all the kit on the back and started patrolling through this town. And you're talking like little alleyways that are, you know, I don't know, maybe 6 foot wide with 15 foot high walls, and all little wet runs and holes where the Taliban would have made these things so they can rope from building to building, and they know exactly where they're going, and we wouldn't have a bloody clue. So it's quite a daunting experience, you know, anyone could be the other side of this 15 foot wall with a grenade. And that's the kind of thing that's on your mind, and your senses are really, really heightened, which is quite a mad feeling, to be honest. It's like you are as switched on as you're ever going to be in your life, and it feels good. It does feel good. So we made our way through this town and quickly took over 3 compounds that were in a sort of triangular formation. As this has happened, I've climbed straight onto a roof of our compound, which was typically what I would do anytime we'd stop. I'd jump on a high feature or a roof, or anytime anyone was getting shot at in the distance, I'd get shouted at and get on the roof. So I did that. Everyone started building sandbag positions and stuff like that around us. As the sun started to come up, I noticed a few vehicles in the distance. One in particular was this motorbike, and it's going from right to left, and there's just one guy on this bike, and then left to right in the same place, and then he came back, and there's 2 guys on this motorbike. So I was like, right, okay, something fishy's going on here. Like, my spidey sense was tingling, and there's like a sense that you grow while you're there, where you see things like combat indicators, we'd call them. So, like, for instance, in this street there would normally be kids playing, and then today there isn't. No one's in that street. You sort of go, right, something's going to happen in that bloody street, innit? Or there's an IED been put in there overnight or whatever. So you're constantly looking for these things. So I see this guy in the distance. I figured out he's dropping off fighters in various locations around us, and then I see a minibus in the far distance that's just got a driver, and then he comes back, and then he's got a minibus full of blokes, all fighting age males, and then he comes back, it's just the driver. So we know, and this is happening all around us, all 3 of our positions are all sort of reporting the same sort of thing. So I shouted down to the boss on the ground and said, look boss, I'm gonna let out for a warning shot here. So it was mainly so they knew I'd seen them, because what I didn't want was them to have the confidence of, right, everyone's in position now, they've still not got no idea what's going on, and go. You know, I wanted them to know that everything you're doing, I'm seeing, and this is how close I can get to you. So I fired this shot about probably 2 meters in front of his motorbike, and as he's going, I fired the shot, and he's fucking wobbled all over the place. As I've done this, he's just gone out of sight, and then it was like, have you ever been abroad where like dusk happens and then all the crickets and stuff start going, and just this sound erupts? It was like that with machine guns and RPGs and fucking AK-47 fire. Just, it wasn't directed all at me, but it felt like it was. It was just this, like I'd started something here, and I was going, shit. There's a guy next to me and he was like, fucking hell, mate, here we go. And he's crouching down. I'm like, I've got 2 sandbags in front of me. There's just wasn't time to build up a position. So I'm looking there, and then as this has sort of progressed, I see this guy hidden behind a tree. There's sort of like a natural built up sort of bun line thing with a ditch running along it, and then there's a little track, and then a tree, and then 2 buildings either side, making like a little courtyard thing. And all this fire was coming over there, and I'd not really noticed exactly where it was at first until I seen this lad who was probably the same age as me. So at that point I was 21, I think. Yeah, 21. He was probably my age, maybe a little bit younger, could have been his late teens, but you know, he was young. And he's fucking aiming at my head, and he's trying his very best to take my head off. And it was go time then. So as this has happened, that anger came back, and it was the first time I'd actually really felt angry in a contact. Normally it was a job. It was, you shoot at me, I'm going to shoot at you, we're all going to do the same thing, and then some of us will walk away and some of us won't. It was emotionless, but this time, thoughts of my mate that had been killed, it just flooded my mind. I don't know why. I didn't intentionally do it. I didn't start thinking about him and then go right and then get this guy. It just happened. And with that, I ended up shooting him. The round hit him in the throat, and that started a chain of events that lasted a decade, to be honest. So as I've hit him, and I go into this, you know, you'll obviously know in the book from reading it, I go into this in great depth. He sort of dropped his weapon, and once I've made this shot, the only worry I had was that behind me rounds were coming in and we were surrounded. It turned out there was hundreds of Taliban in this area now, and they'd all been dropped off, and every part of our unit had been surrounded. So rounds were coming in all over the place, and I was thinking, fuck, they better not come from that alleyway that's a few metres behind me. It turned out that they were trying to get closer. Lads on the ground were fighting like fuck. They were like, there's footage of this on YouTube of this compound in particular, and you can see and you can hear just this fucking urgency that they're so close. They're almost within grenade throwing range, and I'm on this roof trying to stay calm, and otherwise I'm not going to make a shot at 750 meters away. You know, I've got to be still like a sleeping baby. That's literally how calm I've got to be in this situation to make these shots. So there's a lot of trust in the lads around me. I completely trust them. I would any day with my life, you know. So this day ended with me taking him out, and then another one came to the same position, and another one, and another one. And it ended up, I took out firefighters in this little courtyard area. And that was the first time then that I noticed a little twinge in my mental health. Up until that point, I was filled with confidence and happy, and I was doing my job. I was living my dream, the dream I'd had since I'd been a kid. I was living it, and it was amazing. And then I felt, I can almost pinpoint this where this started. I felt into the pain of the lad that I'd hit in the throat, and obviously, with a sniper scope, I could see in great detail how this was going down, and I could see the look on his face. I could see the look on the other people around him's face. It was a very powerful moment where I began to think, fucking hell, that must hurt. That must really fucking hurt, that getting shot in the throat. And then I was thinking like how scary that must have been, how much fear, and I could see the fear in his eyes. And once I'd acknowledged that myself, it was like this floodgate had opened of every other time it had happened, and then every time in the future it would sort of come back as a way of, I don't know what it was, I don't know whether I was intentionally doing it or what, but it was like I was playing with my own mind, playing with my emotions. How far can I feel into this? Like, what's it going to do? And fucking hell, shouldn't have done it. Because it rapidly then took over my life, and most of my waking hours were filled with images of that young lad that that I'd shot in the throat. You know, I say young lad. I was a young lad as well. You know, it's not like it's not like me now at this age doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'd feel different a little bit about that sort of age gap at the time. It was him versus me, and I was fucking better than him.
Yeah.
After that, so this day ended a 13-hour firefight. This one
13-hour gun battle.
Yeah, it was tasty, and every single person there was getting very much involved. We extracted on the choppers, and then I ended up on the airstrip back in Camp Bastion, which is like the main camp that we used to use in that area. This Land Rover turned up with an officer who was a media liaison officer, I was informed, and I was to go with her. And then within 5 minutes, I was sat in front of a British journalist and unraveling this story, and sort of going, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Come to terms with it yourself.
Yeah, mate. I'm not. You can't talk in a helicopter because it's fucking well loud.
Yeah.
So I'd literally gone from doing that, business, get in the chopper, speak to nobody, and then unload to a journalist. And then I sort of, after I did that, I kind of went, "What the fuck was that?" Like, I felt like some sort of show pony. And then as I've got back to my like tented accommodation at the time, the stories of about the day of myself and the other snipers who had also been doing, you know, remarkable feats on the battlefield in that day. The stories had come back, and this sort of pride sort of built, and this I don't know, it felt good. I felt like I had reached that almost elite status of becoming not just a sniper, but a sniper who is now accomplishing sort of notable feats.
You're the man.
I felt the man, mate.
Yeah.
I certainly did feel like the man. There was definitely a bit of ego, I think, that got involved, which led to more confidence, and then in turn led to me feeling invincible in a way, and I'd sort of find myself in these situations getting shot at where I was taking a bit more of a risk than necessary, or getting myself into positions where fucking hell, unless I deal with this really quickly, I could end up getting the good news here. I might get around to the head. But again, it instilled that confidence of, fuck yeah, I can do this. And it instilled confidence in the lads around me as well. So after a little while, it was probably about 3 months in or so, 3 or 4 months into this tour, our sort of job roles changed. We were pushing Taliban back and then taking over these areas, and then fortifying them basically, and making sure that, right, now that we're in this village, locals, you can live safe. We're here now, we're not going anywhere. Crack on as normal. If the Taliban come anywhere near us, we'll fend them off. Like, hopefully they'll get nowhere near you ever again. So our patrols would be ways of sort of testing where the Taliban were, what the numbers were like and stuff like that. And after a while, it became my role to sort of climb on the roof of our compound where our forward operating base would be, and then just overwatch what the lads were doing basically. And having done these sort of things, I think it instilled a bit of confidence and a bit of a feeling of security in them as well. That they had me sort of watching, and they then knew that I was capable of these things.
Mm-hmm. So, going back to the op, 13-hour gun battle.
Yeah.
You got 5 confirmed kills.
Yes.
Killing each one.
Yeah.
Did it become easier after each one?
It was. There were targets, to be fair. In my mindset, that it didn't become more difficult or easier. It became, at points, it was like, fucking, how high is this number going to go? Like, and I was sort of calling down to the ground, or the boss even on the ground, you know, the officer in charge was sort of looking up going, right, chill out a minute. You know, and it was kind of, he was saying, like, get down off the roof. And I was like, no, I'm not going to get down because this...
You're clearly in a good position as well.
This needs to be done, you know, otherwise what's going to say that they're all not going to fucking tip up over here. So yeah, I wouldn't get down. You know, it wasn't like, I wasn't defying orders, he wasn't fuming at that fact. He gave me the opportunity to get down, so it wasn't like I was stuck on this roof, couldn't get down. I could if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. I was in the zone, Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know when you're like, I don't know, you're on a long drive or something, you're in the zone, someone goes, oh, do you want me to drive? And you're like, no, I'm good, I'm in the zone, like, that was me, I was...
Comfortable.
Yeah, I was hot, mate,
Yeah.
and I had everything dialed in, and yeah, it was just sort of, it was more of a just one after the other, rather than, oh, here we go again, oh no, or, you know, or anything like that, or like, none of them ever meant less to me than, say, the fifth guy didn't feel any different. It was just that first guy, I think it was because of the emotions and thoughts and feelings that I was having as I pulled that trigger. It sort of locked something in with him. The others didn't really bother me too much. The whole situation did for a little while, but then as time and therapy progressed, it was just the guy that I shot in the throat who actually really bugged me.
You think that's because they're confirmed first?
No, I think it was because of why I hit him in the throat, and I think it was because I think it was because I watched him die, and that's quite a hard, heavy thing to do.
Did you put yourself in his shoes?
I did, yeah. I did put myself in his shoes and just think, fucking hell, man, that must be terrifying. That must be really scary, because I could see him holding his hand out and calling to the other people behind the buildings. And it was just really fucking heavy, mate, to be honest. It was him or me, yes. Of course. But it also wasn't him or me, because I knew that his rounds, as close as they were getting, he had nowhere near the chance that I had, you know, and I think that's what made me live with it. I sort of beat myself up a lot over it, and I felt really bad about doing that.
You probably got told this 100 times, but did you never think, you know, you said it's me or him. Did you ever think it's either him or, obviously, Steve-O, one of the other boys?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Change it from yourself to somebody else. Did that never help?
Yeah, it did actually, yeah. It did, thinking of it that way. And it was something that on the ground at the time, when I'd be in these contacts and stuff, and I'd be trying to sort of do the calculations and clicks on my scope and get in the zone and flick that safety catch off, it would very much be a sort of like a stopwatch had started of, if I don't deal with this quick, one of the lads is going to fucking get it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely something like that, and that was a big pressure that was put on me, but more so that I put on myself. You know, obviously being the only sniper in my group at the time, I was an asset, and to have a weapon system that can fire at those sort of distances, and you know, the optics that can see that far. Of course, I was going to be the number one call. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it became a heavy burden, and one that eventually sort of took the light out of me, and I was nothing but angry, and I felt nothing. I was absolutely numb to the teeth, and all I cared about was the next contact getting shot at, and I had no interest in anything unless we were getting shot at or going somewhere where it was very likely we were going to get shot at. Yeah, that's the adrenaline dump that happens when you're getting shot at is fucking something else. But combine that with actually pulling the trigger, it's a very strange feeling. I still to this day can't really explain.
Yeah.
It's a feeling of like a success, that you've accomplished your job on a feat that is very difficult to accomplish. Like most British soldiers have never seen Taliban. They never saw them.
Yeah.
So being able to actually see them and go, oh, that's a real guy, that.
Yeah.
That is a real human dude who's trying to fucking kill me and my mates, and now I've got to end his life. Hard, very hard. I don't know whether I was just never made for it, which I've heard that a lot. Oh, you just weren't made for it. Maybe so, or maybe it's just a fucking really heavy burden to bear.
I'd say that one.
Sounds about right to me. Yeah, I think that because, like, inside me, I'm a nice guy, and like that, having met, before we've done this, you can see, I'm full of joy. I'm full of smiles, and I always have been apart from that period. So something that through therapy I talked about a lot, and meditation, was how my core values almost had been shaken. So everyone knows that killing somebody is wrong, unless obviously you've got some sort of mental issue, psychopathic or whatever, where you just don't have those feelings of right and wrong. But I think to actually do it, and then to also enjoy it, like I enjoyed my fucking job because I've worked really hard to do it. But it's very heavy, very heavy. It's like, I think I could sit here with you for 10 hours and still never actually get down to describing how it feels. I don't know. I really don't know.
Let's do it most of the times. So, you've done your op, you got your confirmed kills. It's a bit of a surreal moment for you.
Yes.
You're reliving it at first, as you did in later life, but then you're like, I quite like this.
Yeah.
It's a bit of me.
Yeah, very much so, mate.
Saving the boys' lives, being the man who can save others.
Yeah, that was important to me, that. It was important to be able to I wanted to be as good as I could be, mostly for all the people around me, so that I could get the job done, keep everyone safe, get everyone home.
Is something else in your book? Because I like little details, like when I read stuff, I picture things.
Right.
So I set the scene. I believe you land in helicopters at your op, and the speakers are coming over the mosques. Calling in for all fighting men.
Yeah, that was a moment. So that was the beginning of an operation called Operation Moshtarak. So this was it was the biggest air assault since World War II. I think it was something like 15,000 troops. I think it was getting dropped off at multiple locations by waves and waves of helicopters. So I think there was about 82 helicopters. I think it was doing these waves of dropping troops and stuff, and we were on the first wave. So our Black Hawk sort of landed after a bit of a scary introduction, again avoiding some RPGs and shit, where in the book I talk about me, I nearly fell out of the fucking helicopter door. Yeah, mate, oh my god, what a start to the morning that was. Luckily one of the boats grabbed me and managed to yank me back in. So yeah, we landed, and then it was eerily quiet. The sun had just come up, and it was quite cool. There was a sort of bit of a mist on the ground. It looked like something out of a war movie, but then all of a sudden we heard this speaker in this tannoy system start up. Somebody started speaking away. Obviously we couldn't understand it, so we're all saying to the interpreter, what are they saying on there? Who's that? What are they after? Turned out it was the Taliban. The area we'd gone to was very much a stronghold for them, and all kind of untouched area really, where they'd been allowed to. They had training camps and stuff there. That's how secure they were in this location. So our interpreter said they are basically saying that anyone fighting age males in the area are to join them in the fight. And they were saying something along the lines of, there's going to be the holiest of wars here, and they were saying all this stuff that anyone that's left here that's not with them is against them. So we're sort of lay there in these reeds next to this canal going, this is a bit daunting. It was weird, mate. It was all very much like the start of a film.
But could a knock like that, you'd have been briefed. How many enemy fighters was you expecting?
We didn't know.
No.
That was the thing. All we knew was there was a stronghold. So for that, we're talking hundreds. There was hundreds of them in the area, and like I just said, they'd been allowed to do whatever they wanted to do and become as strong as they could in the area. So for us at the beginning of this op, we'd had this massive brief that was a bit ominous, and it was kind of, some of us might not be coming back from this, phone home before we go, and it was that kind of vibe, So we've got there, and then this tannoy speaker's going off and giving everyone the warnings, and then all of a sudden everyone started leaving this town, and we're again still lay hidden in these reeds, watching donkeys and carts and motorbikes and anything that could move was getting loaded up with kids, kit, whatever they had, their personal belongings, and they were getting our dodge. So it was, in a way, it was like, right, well, this is quite good, because the collateral damage is going to be to a minimum, you know, which was always something that was on our mind. Collateral damage is, it's a big deal. British troops, I think, had that more in mind than any others, really. Again, being that heart and mind sort of thing, we wanted to make things better. So we've then moved off into a massive compound where there was a farmer living there. His family had already moved away, and usually the way that it'd go if someone was inhabiting a building that we wanted to be in, they'd sort of get paid substantial amounts of money, to be fair. And then he was more than happy to do that. He was leaving anyway, so we left his home and we then took over it. Straight away we knew there was this aura in the air. There was something was going to go off pretty quickly. We knew it was happening. It felt like, you know, this feeling when you know you're being watched. It was that constantly. Yeah. So it was very rapid. Like, let's get this place built up. Let's get it secured. Let's get some holes bashed in the walls so people can fire through them. Let's make this a fortified area that we can really base ourselves, you know, make it as safe as possible. So me and one of the lads have jumped up on the roof again. As we've done so, we've been laid there for a few minutes, sort of scanning everywhere. You know, obviously over there it's a 360-degree battlefield. That's what we call it. So, you know, again, you know, no uniforms and there's not a line where they're there, we're here, we're going to fight. It's everywhere. It could be anybody. So your head's on a swivel all the time. And as we're doing this, all of a sudden, machine gun fire. Well, it turned out it was an AK-47. Oh, it came flying over our heads. And then my ears have honed into sort of where this kind of came from, I sort of got ready behind my weapon. And this guy's popped up behind a wall with an RPG, sent it off. So there's two ways an RPG can work. It can either explode on impact, or it can be set to explode at a certain sort of altitude, which is how this one was set. So it exploded in the air above the compound where we were. As that's happened, I'm not ready to take a shot at this point. This is, you know, the seconds. It's bang, 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 down, up, bang. As that's happened, I've seen this guy then run. And there was a bit of chaos going on the ground. Everyone's sort of chucking the kit on, expecting that we're having a big bump, and this is the beginning of this huge battle that we thought was going to happen. So the radios are all going mad and stuff. The boss is on the ground. He's sort of shouting up to me what's going on and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on just as I'm talking to him, and I'm watching this fella run who's now sort of dropped his RPG and he's off. So he's gone behind this little building, and then between this building here, there's another building there with a sort of waist-high wall. If he were to get behind this second building, he'd have been gone through this labyrinth of things. So I said, right, what the fuck's going on? What am I doing here? Again, like rules of engagement, like I mentioned earlier, they've changed now for wartime sort of, you know, mentality. So apparently there was some air assets in the air that were supposed to be coming, and they were going to sort of follow this guy. That was the plan. So I'm sort of shouting down, disagreeing with it, saying in a couple of seconds he's going to be gone. You know, we're never going to see him.
Yeah.
There's no helicopters in the air. So he's come out from behind this second building, from the first building, sorry, and he's walking like casual as fuck, and I know it's this guy. I've literally just watched him do every move, and he's going. So I'm sort of putting clicks on my sight, and I was like, if he fucking tries it on here, I'm going to be ready. And he's turned, and as he's turned to face me, he waved at me, and that was it then. The angry sniper came back then, and I pulled the trigger. Luckily, because the air assets never did turn up, so that's one that didn't get away. But that was day one, morning one of this op. which ensued in like we were talking earlier. One of the groups was in a contract for 50 days. I think it might have been 52 days, something like non-stop, constant, each and every day fighting. And then it wasn't too long after that we then sort of started to branch out from this area where we were and take the fight to the Taliban really, and get to know the locals. So I ended up moving. It was only a few kilometres down this canal, and we took over a compound right next to this what used to be a busy marketplace, a bazaar, but it was all closed down, shut down. No one was walking down there or anything. Turned out later on it was riddled with IEDs and stuff, and there was it was a dangerous area. So one thing that they were doing with this big canal that ran down alongside the town was the Taliban were putting IEDs. So you got the water here, putting IEDs this side, because they knew that the vehicles we had could take a blast, but it would tip with the explosion. So they were trying to tip our vehicles into the canal so everyone would drown. That was the sort of mentality of their fighting, that we were like, right, okay, they had nasty tactics, you know. So everyone, like I said, was on a swivel. Everyone's head was on a swivel, and emotions were sort of heightened a little bit. This was clearly a very dangerous place. So we've taken over this compound, and as we're searching it, one of the highlights, actually, I don't think I mentioned this in the book. I'm not sure if I do. We found this big chest full of Twinkies. I couldn't believe it, mate. Me and this lad just opened this box and we were like, oh my god, here we go. And just like, we'd not had anything nice to eat in ages. It had all been ration packs and just horrible stuff. Oreos was about as good as it got. So that was a nice little highlight for the day, that. And then we quickly settled in then to, you know, the usual routine, fortifying these places, and we're sharing this big compound with, again, Afghan Special Forces, the Afghan Police and the Afghan Army. They'd sort of been in this area for quite a while, but they didn't really seem to be doing anything. So our job was take them with us, get them to know the area, speak to the locals, find out what's going on, get as much intel as we can. And it sort of went from there. You know, the weeks went on and on. We became one with the locals, and eventually the marketplace, because of the security we provided, was able to open up again, which meant for us we were able to get fresh food, which was a godsend, because living on ration packs for months on end, and up until the reopening of this marketplace, we'd been on like half-time rations, so the resupply choppers couldn't actually get to us because of where they were. It was just too hot of an area, so you know, we'd be on down to like one bottle of water a day, half a ration pack each. You know, you have the breakfast meal, I'll have the dinner one, that kind of thing for a little while, and it was tough. And it was constant. The fighting was constant, constantly all around us, and every night it would be like Star Wars, mate, watching tracer rounds just flying through the air, and we had the mortars platoon with us. So like they'd be supporting guys that were a couple of kilometres away or more, if not, you know, sending, be that like explosive rounds or light in nighttime contacts, you know. So yeah, it was somewhere we ended up settling there. I think it's about 2.5 months. I think we were there for, something like that.
It's a job well done seeing the market reopen.
That was
worth it.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah, and I believe a school also reopened not too far down the road from us as well. Because like Taliban were targeting schools.
Yeah.
You know, it was horrible, and all these kids wanted to do. We'd gone patrol, and these kids constantly going pen. All they wanted was pens and papers, and they wanted to become educated. You know, they wanted school. So we'd do as much as we could, you know. We'd always sort of have like little slide bags of sweets and that, and be like, "Oh, guys," do you know what I mean? And we got a rapport, even with the village elders and stuff. They started opening up and letting us know if anyone had been in the area that wasn't from there, and you know, all this kind of thing. So it was all coming together.
Yeah.
And then I'm at this point, my mental state was not right. Let's put it that way. I was on a rapid decline, but trying to keep it together and keep it to myself, because, you know, at the time, I'd never heard the term mental health or PTSD. I'd never heard of that. I didn't know what it was. It was just some career-ending thing that, you know, I don't know. I just didn't. It wasn't a part of my.
For the crazy people.
Yeah, that was it, mate. Yeah, it wasn't. You know, it wasn't me. And I was struggling with stuff, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like I was having nightmares and waking up screaming in the middle of the night and stuff. And I'd be like, "Fucking hell, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, fine." But I wasn't. I started writing all these poems, and I'd drawn all these pictures of my nightmares and stuff like that, and it was all snowballing really, really quickly. And then one evening, me and a few of the lads were playing cards, which is just all day, every day. If you're not on patrol or not, it's downtime. You sort of have you know, those moments of making a homemade gym out of anything heavy and a bit of wire bloody, well, you know, whatever you could do to sort of make something, So we'd do a fitness and we'd play cards and we'd have, one lad had this little like portable DVD player and then the little folding off things. Yeah, what did we have on there? I think it was, what was that boxing thing was like? Oh, no, it wasn't boxing, it was the UFC. What was the UFC thing? The competition where they'd win a contract to get in?
Ultimate Fighter.
Yes, that was it. Ultimate Fighter. So we had a season of that and we'd just watch it on repeat over and over and over again. It was the only thing, like, there was a bit of digital stuff that we could do. So we're sat there one night and we're smoking cigs and we're bloody, like, at this point, my smoking has gone ridiculous. I'm smoking about 70 cigs a day, which is a big indicator looking back and in writing the book. There's little points at the end of a few chapters here and there, like cigarette smoke daily, and it starts at 5, goes all the way up to 70. So we sat there playing, and next minute the radio comes on, and my commander at the time said, one of the teams a couple of K away have come into contact. Can you jump up on the roof and see if you can see the enemy extracting? He said that it's potentially that they're over there. So over there for me was our compound was here, and it was all open field. It was all open ploughed, farmers' fields up until basically the next village along, and this distance was a mile. So I jumped up, got on my kit and got on the roof, and it's sort of dusk-ish, and the radio's going off and there's sort of little bits of intel are going on here and there, and then all of a sudden in the far distance at this point where I said there's a mile away, I could see movement. So something caught my eye and I've looked, and it was 3 Taliban fighters with AK-47s, and they were coming from the exact direction where my mates had just been in contact. So I knew then, these are definitely the guys that have just tried to kill my mates over there.
And they're a mile away.
Yeah, they're a mile away, yeah. So that sort of woke the beast a little bit in me. Like this protector mentality. It was like, how dare you try that? And then, I'm going to make you pay for doing that. So obviously a shot at a mile away, it's a task. It took 11 calculations for me to figure out, bearing in mind things like temperature and wind direction. There's 3 different wind directions. So there's me, the wind was going this way, and then the wind had gone on a bit of an angle halfway, and then it swooped around. So wind acts a bit like water. So imagine water crashes into a wall, it'll go that way. So I've done all these calculations and made my averages and stuff, and I put the clicks in. Now, at that kind of distance, you call your point of aim your point of impact. So that means where your crosshairs are, that's where your round's going to land. But at a mile away, you've expanded as much as you can on your scope. So it meant that I was having to check where my target is and then lift, and I'm not looking at the actual target, firing and then dropping back down to see where the round's landed. So I've seen these guys, and they're in a single file formation, moving from left to right for me. I put the single file down to probably the IED threat in the area, where there's probably a load from down there that were actually probably meant for us if we ended up wandering up that end. But I could tell pretty quickly the guy in the centre was the commander. This was then later confirmed by our interpreters listening into the radios that he was in fact the Taliban commander and they were his sort of protection. I came up with a plan, and this was probably the most snipery moment that I ever had.
Stuff of movies.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing. Because of the distance, I felt like I wasn't in any imminent danger, you know. I felt very comfortable. I didn't have my body armour on, I didn't have my helmet on, I was cap and the sniper platoon t-shirt and I was comfortable. And at that sort of distance, every single thing comes into play, you know, because the tiniest mistake or fault at this end will then exponentially deviate over that way.
Yeah.
So as I'm looking and thought, right, I'm going to take the guy at the rear of the patrol out, and then I'm going to take the guy out at the front. So I fired my first round at the rear of the patrol, and I missed. Must have been inches away. So quickly, and I mean instantly, reloaded, and bang, sent my round again, and I've hit this guy at the back. It's dropped into the floor as this has happened. So at that distance, there would have been a big delay between the sound, you know, between them hearing that crack, and they turned round, both the commander and the front of the patrol. Turned round, seen number 3 on the floor, and then they both turned around as the commanders turned. That was when I let loose my next round and took out the front of the patrol, leaving just the commander. At this point then, he's obviously had this realisation that he's next, and as he started to run, I fired again, took him out, and it was a strange sense, like a peaceful moment washed over me. And then there was a crackle on the radio, and an American Apache pilot had been in the air nearby, and he'd watched it all. He'd watched the whole thing. He'd watched the shooting, and he'd like commended me on my shooting ability and stuff. So it was a bit of a surreal moment, you know. I was proud of what I'd just achieved. It felt pretty cool to have, you know, an American Apache watching this sort of thing, and you know, everyone on the ground was sort of buzzing with what I'd just done, and like some people were on the phones to people back home as I'm doing this, and it was just a mad moment.
Yeah.
But I climbed down off the roof and it all changed. From getting down, being on that roof to climbing this rickety old ladder and getting onto the ground, this heavy feeling sort of washed over me. And
So before we get to that, Ted, because I know what's coming,
yeah,
I just want to summarise up what the fuck has just happened.
Yeah, cool.
So you're on a roof, you hear the contact down the road, some of the boys have copped it. You look down your scope, you see who likes to be identified as a Taliban commander with his 2 boys. These are a mile away.
Yeah.
There's 3 different wind directions, like we spoke about at the start, stuff which is, in my opinion, stuff of genius, like to work this stuff out, how a bullet's gonna travel and land with the wind and all that stuff. You do your calculations. Because they're so far away, you're looking down your scope, you have to raise it so you can no longer see them.
Yeah.
And you are judging, you're trusting yourself, trusting your training and your decision making.
Yeah.
You make 4 shots,
Yeah.
3 kills.
Yeah.
How quick was this? How long did that situation last for?
From shooting,
Yeah.
from pulling the trigger the first time, you're talking 20 seconds maybe? Something like that.
4 shots, 20 seconds, 3 kills.
Yeah.
You get a big well done off everyone. You are the man of films at this moment in time. You climb down off the roof.
Yeah, climbed down the roof, off the roof, and then something changed. I changed. I don't really know what it was. Don't know what it was, but everyone around me could tell that I changed. I ended up walking round the corner from like everyone was grouped down below looking up at me doing all this on the roof, and I walked through the sort of little crowd of guys, and I was just quiet, really quiet, and then the noise in my head, this was the first real time I'd really experienced this noise in my head that was sort of at the time just a murmur, but a constant thing. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and it was scary. So I shut down. I shut right down, walked round the corner on my own, and everyone left me be. They could tell that I needed to decompress. Like, I was going through something. I needed to be on my own at that moment. Fucking hell. I must have smoked 20 cigs in a row, just one after the other, sat there. And after that, my mind had gone, my personality had gone, and people had started to notice it. So then over the next coming few days, things quickly progressed to me then having a mental health issue happening out on the ground, which is when people started to say, hey, something's up with Ted here. We need to do something, which I was unaware of at the time. I didn't know that people were talking about me and saying like, oh, there's something going on here. He's writing these poems and drawing these pictures. Like, I've always been a creative person, and that was now I know that was my way of letting this out without, actually speaking to anybody. But it was very quickly decided then, there was one more firefight after that, and that was the one that pushed me over the edge. And then one of the guys who was, it's called TRIM, so Trauma Risk Management. He was TRIM trained. He sat me down, and we went. There's like a check sheet where you score things out of 10. He's asking me all these questions and stuff, and I could tell by the way he was acting. It was very somber, and it was very like, okay, mate, yeah. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What's happening here? What's happening to me? Why do I feel like a casualty? What's like, and it was all that, this realisation was happening that I'm going to get took off the fucking ground here. I'm going to get like a casualty evacuation. And I did. Same day, vehicles came and they picked me up and they took me back to where we'd originally taken over on the first day of the op after the Tannoy incident, that compound which we'd called Fob-Varaig, which is Welsh for forward operating base Dragon, which is now sort of, they've been having rugby matches and all sorts of stuff like it was a home. It was a home away from home. People were comfortable there. There's a lot of familiar faces there for me. So turning up there, I think I hoped and everyone else hoped that just seeing some familiar faces, being in a little bit less of a kinetic environment, would help me get some, fresh food and stuff. And people tried. I think people were expecting me. I think I didn't really know it at the time, but some people made a beeline for me. Hey mate, you okay? Trying to sort of cheer me up and stuff. Other people sort of left me to it, or like almost avoided me in a way. There was a lot going on at the time, a hell of a lot going on.
How did you, like, me looking at this, like, you were excited to get out there originally, go and get a bit of revenge for Steve-O. You do your first couple of confirmed kills, and that shit's playing on your mind. But then when you see the boys, you kind of come round, but then you're on another op and your mental health deteriorates. Yeah. And then you get those 4 shots, 3 kills, and everyone's saying you're the man, and you're believing it yourself up until your feet touch the floor. Yeah. Why is that transition? Why could you not be the man?
So I think at the time I was, it's quite tricky how to say this, how to word it. I was experiencing what was later described as an addiction to pulling that trigger, and I was looking for every opportunity. All I cared about at that point then was taking lives. That was a hard reality to face. So it became a situation where I think gradually everything had built up to this point where I just felt invincible. And I was, like I mentioned earlier, I was taking these risks that were not really worth it, or like there's one instance in the book I talk about where I go and run to draw fire in my flip-flops and my shorts, just because we couldn't see where the fire was coming from. Things like that aren't decisions that you take lightly, but for me, I didn't care. I kind of lost that if I died, I died. So I'd lost myself. I'd lost the light, and I think the weight of taking so many lives, and then having the pressure that this tour wasn't over. That's going to keep happening, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell anyone I'm struggling, because that's the polar opposite of what I was about. I think it just became too much, to the point where other people noticed that this is going to go fucking wrong. This is going to go as bad as it can get unless we get him off the ground. How it happened, don't really know.
So you was addicted to war, addicted to killing people, but the you inside, the Teddy inside, didn't want that.
Yeah, no way.
It's just becoming this person. You couldn't stop it.
Yeah, couldn't stop it, mate. Couldn't stop it. It was what I imagine having a drug addiction would be like. It's something that you can't stop doing, or it was all I thought about constantly. All I thought about, and that's a very dangerous mindset to have, especially for someone with that weapon system and the training that I had. There could have been ample opportunity there for me to really fucking go on a bit of a mad one.
Yeah.
Luckily I didn't. I wasn't good. If I was to be going out on patrols and stuff, I know for a fact, that's all I would have been doing. It's all I wanted to do. It's all I cared about.
Just looking for it.
Yeah, I felt alive, but also dead inside. It was such a weird feeling. It was a feeling of like I said before, I'd accomplished things, and I felt good as I was good at my job. But the personal aspect of it, of realising that these aren't targets that I'm hitting, they're real human beings. These are lives that I'm ending that are going to have massive knock-on effects for the people around them. Once that had started, it was like a rot that ended in just a sadness, an overbearing sadness. So that's when I was then pulled off the ground.
Yeah. Medically evacuated.
Yeah.
You do at some point get to see a nurse. And your mental health issues are just said, no Ted, you're just tired.
Yeah, I was told I was tired of an addiction. Yeah. That was, for me at the time, didn't seem right, but I didn't know anything about mental health. I had no idea. Maybe this person whose job it was day in, day out was right.
They have the knowledge.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I had no reason not to believe them. So they said go and work in the stores for a couple of weeks. Couple of weeks away from the front line, get some sleep, get some fresh food. Should be all right. Fucking hell no.
I've got a good question for you. So you're addicted to killing, yeah? The Taliban are the enemy. Yeah. Fuck the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rightly so. They think the same about you. You think the same about them. That is war. That's what enemies do.
Yeah.
How do you feel, injured Taliban fighters? Obviously, the human thing to do is they receive medical care.
Yeah. Yeah. It was something that we did over there. So
what's your opinion, knowing if you were lying there injured, they would strip you live on video and chop your head off on video, and you're there giving them medical care?
I think it comes down to how professional that we were as British troops. I think if they're out of the firefight, then they're out of the firefight. It's a difficult pill to swallow. I know lads that have had to give first aid to enemy combatants, and it's surreal, but at the end of the day,
it's a weird one, because
moral courage.
Yeah, because like I said, if they catch hold of you, you're going to be broadcast on the news with your head getting chopped off. Like that's what they would do. That's that's how they'll break the soldiers.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something I say quite a lot, and I think I mentioned it in the book, where we would become the monsters that keep monsters at bay. And there's a time to be that monster, and then there's a time to be the soldier. Yeah. Being a soldier, integrity and moral courage is drilled into you to do the right thing, regardless of how you feel about it. So yeah, it's difficult, but I suppose it's just what makes British soldiers British soldiers.
Yeah, makes us human and them not.
In a way, yeah. In a way,
It's a line in the sand, I guess.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's, you know, we're trying to do the right thing, and I think that's what it really boils down to. Yeah, which is a hard thing to juggle as a sniper, doing, you know, taking lives, and that is your part of doing the right thing. Someone's got to do it. Yeah. And I wanted to do it, and I know the other snipers wanted to do it. It's it just crept up on me. Yeah. I think once you snap out of that sort of callous mindset that you've got on a battlefield, it's easy to creep in. And you notice it, like most blokes in the army are angry, sort of short-tempered, irritable, aggressive people. Whether they were before they joined or not, I don't know, but that keeps you alive over there. So for me, that's where I went. I got angry.
Yeah. So you're back at the little base, working in the stores. You're just tired, so you've been told. Yeah. Nightmares are creeping up on you. Yeah. And then you hear your friend Johnny has been killed. Yeah.
No, he didn't get killed.
No, injured.
Injured, yeah. An IED blast. Fucking hell, that was. I felt like a piece of shit when that happened.
Did you think you could have been out there protecting him?
That thought was in my head, yeah. Reality was,
of course,
I wasn't, you know, no. But being sat on my arse so at this point I'd been sent to another camp. Yeah, I'd been moved from Bastion, and I'd gone with one of the lads to get some kit ready for an op. In this camp that was nice, mate. I had like a gym, and the food was dead nice, and there was a little shop, and there was always an internet connection, and it was like a little Butlins camp. It was what I needed, I think. But to be there and then find out my mate's been hit by an IED that, you know, resulted in, he had catastrophic injuries. You know, he lost both his legs and half his hand, his eyesight, and he was just pepper potted with shrapnel. So I've one of your best mates in that situation, and I'm sat on my arse. That fucking hurt me. That was really shit. And then one of the other lads as well, he got killed in the same period of time where I'm on me, I don't know, sat on my arse, doing fucking meaningless shit. That lit a fire in me as well. That was another factor then that sort of went, right, fuck this, I'm getting back out there. And I did. So it turned out after I returned from this little sort of stores job, everyone was coming back in off the front lines, back to Bastion, and it was sort of like breaking everything down, and we were going to be returning back to the UK soon. And then one of the guys was like, we've got one more job, we need volunteers. It's going to be a 10-day job right up until the end of tour, and then we'll come off the ground and we'll go home. Bit of a dodgy area, and I was just like, fuck yeah, me. Stick my name down. And everyone else, to be fair, that was on that team was like, fucking me, I'll do it. It was a good group of blokes. I then, though, so I had to be allowed to go back on the front line. I had to go and see the psychiatrist again, the psychiatric nurse, sorry, and tell them that, yeah mate, I was tired, you were right. Can I go back out now? And they were like, yeah, so give me the green light. Spoke to the sort of head shed of the battalion, and they were like, yeah, okay, you can go out under one condition. And that condition was that I went out without my sniper rifle, and I was there to be a normal rifleman. Never really got an answer of why that was. But it was probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair. And then that 10-day op, nothing really happened, mate. Nothing apart from a couple of blokes getting taken out by a missile, which aggravated me, to be honest. I wanted that last 10 days, like I wanted fucking all out war for them 10 days. I wanted to do as much as I could. But luckily we didn't get shot at once. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I think it had pushed me completely over the edge, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here your friend's been catastrophically injured. You lie to get back out there because you want that war. You want that revenge.
Yeah.
You want to feed that addiction. Not allowed your sniper, which probably hindered your chances of getting a confirmed kill.
Yeah,
No doubt.
Yeah.
10-day op, quiet relatively.
Yeah.
And then you return back to the UK.
Yeah, stop off in Cyprus for a couple of days on the way back, and then I'm back in the UK.
What's it like returning from complete madness and no doubt paranoia
Yeah.
to...
It is, yeah, I felt that you feel like an alien, mate. You feel like you just landed in this place that is familiar, but you don't really remember.
Did you ever hear people, like, for example, like being on the bus, hear people moaning about this and that, and you're thinking, like, fucking hell, I've just come back from Afghanistan getting shot at.
Constantly, yeah. The moaning about just trivial shit would just piss me off. It was like context. It just gave me a lot of context in my life about how different certain parts of the world are compared to ours here.
How lucky we are.
Yeah. But in hindsight now, how fucking not too far away from those places we are. Since me coming home and the state of the country now, fucking hell.
Yeah.
What a rapid decline. Rapid.
So you're back home.
Yeah.
And obviously you're still you. You've still got your thoughts.
Yeah.
You've still got your lived experiences. And they're creeping into your nightmares.
Yeah, so I'm trying to, at this point now, back home, trying to keep all this quiet. I'm trying to act as best as I can remember how I was before going. You know, I'm not really talking too much about what's happened. I'm not really letting anyone know what I've done. But the cracks began to show pretty quickly. Like, you know, 3 days or so, I think it was, after being on that 10-day op ending, and then 2 guys getting blown up by a missile. I'm stood in my local pub, stood on the table, stark wallet naked, drinking everything I fucking can, thinking that's normal. Thinking like, yeah, this is fine, being the gobbiest bastard going. And then it got worse then. It slowly got worse. Everything got worse because I didn't have an identity anymore. I didn't have a role or a purpose. I was just this fucking guy that had been to a war zone and come back and was acting a bit funny or a bit quiet, and then camp life back in, you know, after a couple of weeks leave, you're back on, like the green trains keep moving. So we were back into doing like map reading lessons and fucking shit drill, like marching for fucking weeks on end, and just nonsense stuff that I couldn't have cared less about. And I just thought, what the fuck is this? And inside me was this just a fire burning, full of rage, that I was like, I need to get back on that front line. So I started looking at like, how can I do that? How can I get back to Afghan fast as possible? Looking at like what regiments are going next, how can I transfer and all this sort of stuff. But
why was you doing that, knowing it was breaking you? That I want to go back to what's breaking me.
It was, I felt alive there. Like I said, I had a purpose. It was, it was almost like I was going to give everything I've got until there was absolutely nothing left. I knew I was at breaking point, and I knew I was going down, and I knew I'm probably not going to be able to do this forever. Because soon, because I sort of thought at this point again, I've not talked about it. I've not said anything to anyone. I've not, you know, brought it up while I've been back, and no one brought it up to me. There was never like a continuation of, you're alright after all that, Ted, after seeing a fucking crack out there and stuff. There was none of that. It was very much, we're deploying to Afghan next year again. Let's fucking get going. Like, the ball kept moving. So I'm sort of like trying to juggle my mental health and just fucking hoping and praying that it'd just calm the fuck down and I'd just be able to get back into shit, get me back on the shooting ranges, get me back into sniper life, you know, and let's prepare for this fucking next tour. Let's do it.
Now when I was reading your book, come back to me as soon as I ask my question. When I was reading it, and like you were wanting to get back out there, even though that is eating you up inside and effectively killing you, you want to get back out there. When I was reading your book, I wrote a note down, and I wrote, comfortable in war.
Yeah, very much so. Way more comfortable in war than being home.
Yeah.
Way more comfortable. Again, purpose. I had a purpose, I had a role, I had a job that, you know, like people throw themselves into work, if that's an office job or whatever, great stuff. That's what I was doing. I was throwing myself into work that if I can just fucking concentrate, keep my head down, keep doing this, keep that fire alive in me that I've gained and all this experience and, you know, stuff that I've just got off this tour, if I can keep that going long enough to get on the fucking plane and I'm off there again, it'll reignite and then, you know, I'll be okay. That's what I thought. I thought I will be okay if I fucking get back there and carry on. And it was the silence of coming home that fucking let this demon into my brain that was not going anywhere for a very long time, and that's when shit started to really decline for me. I started to wish that I'd been fucking killed there because I couldn't live with this fucking meaningless nonsense fucking life that I was leading. Like, in my mind, I was like, I'm a fucking sniper. What the fuck? What am I doing here? What am I doing marching around here? Like, don't get me wrong, marching through cities where there's thousands of people lying in the streets and shit, and you feel that energy. It gives you something, you know. But I fucking didn't want that. I didn't want it. I wanted to just be doing the job.
You're an instrument of war.
Yeah.
You want to be used.
Yeah, that was it, mate. Yeah, it was very much that. It was get me back doing my job and I'm going to be okay. But that didn't happen.
So you're desperate to get out there. You're drinking. Your nightmares are catching up to you. You're barely sleeping. You're numbing it all with alcohol. And then you realise there's a problem.
Yeah. It was getting into fights and stuff like that was something that goes pretty undetected. And drinking a lot, drinking heavily in the army is fucking encouraged. At least it was, you know. It was a pastime. You finish work, you go to the pub. It was that sort of thing. So getting in trouble or having scraps and stuff wasn't out of the ordinary especially for infantry soldiers and stuff. You know, it's your bread and butter. It's kind of what you're made of a little bit. But it was going too far for me where I was looking for trouble rather than keeping myself to myself. Or, you know, if trouble finds you, you deal with trouble. I was looking for it with an intent of getting my fucking head kicked in. I wanted a beating because it made me feel alive. It made me feel like it was then what I deserved, because it all flipped then, where I wasn't going back for a year. I was lost. I had nothing. I didn't know who I was. I had absolutely nothing, and my emotions were gone. Everything apart from sadness was gone. I was very numb. So getting a kick in off somebody would sort of spark this
Feeling alive.
Yeah, and almost being grateful, like, fucking thank you for doing that, mate, because I deserve that. Like, and I'll do the same next week. Someone else can fucking do it. And, you know, it got to the point where, like, the parents would check in on me. I was living with my parents this time, you know, obviously fucking young. I'd always be in camp. There's no need for me to have an house. And they'd, like, check in on me before going to work in the morning and stuff. And my fucking face had always been black and blue and stuck to the pillow with blood, and the knuckles and fucking my hands, mate, were just constantly moving, constantly, and it became this fucking monster that sort of got laughed off a little bit. I'd be like, oh, fucking didn't it go, you know, that kind of thing. And the drinking was something I hid a lot. There was a lot of drink, and it would be go out for meals or something, like on a steak night. Oh, should we go there? Fucking steak, chips, and a pint. £9 or whatever would do that, and that would be my way of getting people to go to a pub. And then once I've got them in the pub, I'm fucking bang,
You
bang,
can
bang,
initiate
neck
the
in as
drinking.
much as I can, and then one of you will get drunk, and then you'll come out for the night with me. Yeah, a lot of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
A lot of it, yeah. And then a lot of guilt and shame came in then, which is, that's when I started to fucking feel like real dog shit. When I started to feel like, actually feel bad for what I've done. And I started to have this dilemma of, have I done the right thing? Have I done the wrong thing? What is that person whose life I took's family and friends, what are they going through right now? Because they've lost their friend, and I know what that feels like. It feels fucking horrible. So it all changed then, from angry, aggressive sniper to fucking broken little boy, mate. Yeah, it was shit. Until, and one day, when breaking point for me, or that, like the massive realisation was having a family dinner at my parents' house before going back to camp. A slight little disagreement ended up with me in a blackout fucking rage, literally a blackout rage, where the blood left my eyes, I couldn't see, and I was acting on like autopilot, mate, and come round and me and my dad are fighting on the floor. That's not us, that's not me, it's not our relationship.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. So it was the point where I was embarrassed and ashamed of what I'd done. My family, very shocked. I could see the faces of, oh, what the fuck, who's this? Who's this guy living in our house? Because he's fucking dangerous. And that was it then for me. I was like, I can't do that. What if that happens again? And I take it way too far and don't realise, you know. And then the sort of anger and wanting to get in trouble side flipped then of, what if someone pisses me off so much that fucking monster comes out that was addicted to fucking pulling that trigger? That's a dangerous that's a dangerous place. So then, the following morning, I spoke up, which was terrifying, absolutely terrifying, and the end of my career inevitably.
Why do you think it is so scary to speak up? Do you think it's because, like, you've been that guy, you've got the confirmed kills, you have been the man everyone's looked up to, and now you're a broken man?
Yeah, it was also like career aspirations and stuff that I had. I wanted a 22-year career, you know. I didn't just want to be in the Green Army forever. Becoming a sniper was phase 1 of 2. I wanted to become that elite soldier. So I knew that if I said anything about my mental health, that wasn't going to happen for sure, and it was probably going to be the end of my career. And what I didn't realise was, so when I spoke to my commander at the time and said, look, this is what's going on a little bit, and he got me there and then in front of a psychiatric nurse that was in our camp in the UK. I had an appointment, and then after that I was thinking, why is a psychiatric nurse in our fucking camp? Like, that appointment wasn't made for me. They're not here to see me because I was a last minute fastball. And I was like, who else is struggling? Like, no, I've not heard a single person talk about their mental health or that they're having any kind of problems. But this person had a fucking full day of appointments in our camp. So it was like the carpet had been ripped from under my feet, mate. It was like, is this place all made out of broken men here? Is that what this is? Is that why he fights all the time and he drinks all the time and he's fucking angry as fuck? Me, angry. The longer you've been in, people are angry.
Yeah.
And it, you know, I know from having spoken to people who were like, you know, Sergeant Major and stuff like that kind of rank, coming out and then having to get a job in Civvy Street, and they get fired because of how they speak to people. And they can't believe it because they're like, I only said this. And in hindsight, you're like, yeah, you can't say that, mate.
Yeah.
You can't be like that. You can't just fucking bang someone because they mess up, which, you know what I mean, that's how you deal with it. You fuck up and get a punch in the head. And it's just a world, like it's not like that now from what I hear. It's very, very much softened from how it used to be. And even when I was in, you know, blokes who were in the 70s and 80s and that sort of shit, they had it even worse. So
yeah, of course.
you see where it comes down, you see where it trickles down from, like, be that sort of parents or parental figures who've inspired people, young lads, to join the forces, or be that the higher ranks who've been in for donkey's years before you've got in and they act this way. And it's like a learned behaviour of fucking screaming at people and being aggressive as fuck. I really struggled with that. My reactions to anything on Civvy Street, like coming back and trying to be a normal person, say like a road rage incident, fuck me, mate. I'd get to the point where I was so angry and aggressive. Like some kind of motorbike once flipped me off, so I fucking chased him and ripped him off his motorbike and threw him in a hedge. Like, that's not normal behaviour. You know, that's not me. It's not. And it was very much an autopilot sort of reaction, just through pure rage. So yeah, I think it's easily hidden in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the beginning of me actually going down this sort of opening up and talking about it route, which was very hard, and took me a long time of actually speaking to a therapist one-on-one, like once a week. That started straight away after that initial appointment. Every week I'd then see this guy, and then I moved on. I'd see another lady who was a psychiatrist then. But this guilt and shame stuff was massive. So I sort of, one day we're doing a certain type of therapy that led to me having a flashback, which I'd only had a few at this point. First ever time was the first time I got my weapon, my sniper rifle, out of the armoury after coming back from Afghanistan to clean it. And as I've lifted it up and looked through the scope, this like a ringing in my ears, and my neck went all dead hot, and the vision in my eyes started to like blacken, and I could smell dust, and these are all real things. Like imagine that happening to you, and you go, what the fuck is going on? And then I started to panic and have a panic attack and dropped to my fucking knees, and I blamed it on a hangover. And I was like, fucking hell, I don't know what that was. That was weird. You know, and as time's gone on, I started to clam up again. I didn't want, so in particular this woman that I was talking to in therapy, I didn't want her going home and sitting on her couch and thinking about the stuff that I just said, because I had to go into incredible detail, you know, about not just what I could see, but what I was feeling. And some of these thoughts were not nice thoughts, you know, and it took me a long time to kind of be able to get the words out and get the right words out, rather than it just being fucking fuck.
Yeah, express yourself.
Yeah, couldn't do it, mate. Couldn't do it. I just could not do it.
Yeah. So you're in the army still. A lot of stigma.
Yeah.
But then you realise, actually, I'm not the only one struggling here.
Yeah.
But you start getting help. I read in your book at one point you're not even allowed to handle your weapon anymore.
No, that was it.
Yeah, too much of a risk, and that is the end of your career.
That was it, mate, for me. Getting that sick chip that said I wasn't allowed to touch a weapon anymore, that was like a massive kick in the head. I felt fucking useless. Absolutely useless. What use was I?
Yeah.
You know? And then things progressed. Therapy was sort of getting somewhere, and then sort of not. Because of, I don't know, the only way I can describe it is the pamphlets that these therapists were learning from or reading from and stuff, they were fucking older than I was. And I don't think that the infrastructure was there to handle what was actually going to come back from that conflict, you know, the sheer amount of mental health issues. So I kind of saw my arse with it a little bit, and I just kept getting told over and over again that PTSD is for life. You're gonna have to learn to live with it. Learn with live with your symptoms, and you'll find a balance, and you'll get through. And I was like, that sounds fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not even that. It's like, you'll find a balance. You'll do this. You'll do that. Like, help me. Equip me with them tools. You've equipped me to learn how to kill.
Yeah.
Now equip me with how to live with myself.
There was none of that whatsoever.
I mentioned earlier on, before we started recording, I read your book. The hairs stood up on my fucking arms regarding you, or suicide attempts.
Yeah.
Tell us.
I go into a lot of detail, don't I? Into it.
I don't want to give too much away, but it's
it's a key point in it. It was you know, in the book I describe. You can read it, and you can just see a person at the edge there.
I felt like I was there with you.
Yeah, I was broken, mate, and that there was still a fucking bit of bravery in me, and I think that's that bravery, or I don't know if bravery is the right word for it, but it felt like I had one option. There's one way I can stop this, and that's to take my own life, and then everyone around me can then just move on with theirs. I felt really selfish, because I felt it's all right to have ask for help, but I needed fucking help constantly. Whereas I needed someone sat by my side like I was a baby. Otherwise, things were going wrong, and it was every day, all day, every day. I thought about killing myself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, and the voice in my head, the nightmares, no sleep. I wasn't able to eat. It was just fucking hell. So I went from being a sort of comfortable 12 stone in the army down to 9 stone, and then up to 17 stone. So the effect that was having on me of like looking at myself in the mirror, being overweight and just fucking hating myself, hating how I looked, I looked like shit because I was drinking all the time, getting my ass kicked, and my hands were fucking bust up all the time, and I was just felt like a piece of shit. And I was like, right, no, now's the time. People will get over it. It'll be devastating for a bit, but people will get over it. That was what I thought. And then I decided that enough's enough. So I was sat on my bed in my parents' room, parents' little box room, and reached under my bed to my bag. So I'd always have this like grab bag, which I had up until a few years ago when my wife was like, "What are you doing with that?" I was like, "It's just in case, innit?" But again, I'm sure we'll get into that. Those just in case things kept my PTSD alive. We'll talk about that. So I've reached into this bag and got this fucking army issue iPhone. Grabbed my car keys off the side, and I've gone downstairs, seen my parents. They were watching TV in the front room, and just happy as Larry, just like, "Right guys, I'm going to pop out. I'll see you later. Love you both." And off I went, as if nothing was ever wrong. I knew where I was going, knew what I was about to do. I sat in the car and kept listening to 2 songs. One was a band called The National. It's called. Have you ever seen the Tom Hardy film The Warrior or Warrior? Yeah. That last fight where he's fighting his brother. There's a song that's playing over there. Fucking hell! It was the first time I ever heard this band actually, and it just resonated with me really bad. So I kept playing that over and over, and Johnny Cash Hurt just kept playing these 2 songs on repeat. I sat there until I'd cried everything I could cry out, and then there was nothing left. It was like, get all the sadness out, and then it's business time then. And so I pulled out this knife, and I'm sat in my car just by this river in this little town where I live. And I just bang, put the fucking knife in my arm, and then off I went. And that was it, mate. I started gouging away, and very quickly was covered in blood, and started to go. I could tell that if I sat there, I was gonna die. And then this realisation came over me of, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing, mate? And before this, I kept saying, "I'm so sorry, mate. I'm so sorry." Like convincing myself, like, I know this isn't right, but I've got to do it. It's for the greater good.
Almost. Stop the voices.
Yeah, it's just got like the pain, the anger, the fear. I was riddled with fear of what I was capable of and what I could do, and that terrified me. That there was so many nightmares and stuff that I'd had where it wouldn't be Afghan related, it would be in the local pub. It would be like, and I've not really talked about this. I can't remember if I talk about it in the book too much, but there'd be times where I'd be going in my local pub in my nightmares and fucking killing everyone, and it was fucking hard, mate. I was scared of myself. I was scared of what I was capable of, and I'd had enough of hurting everyone around me. So yeah, that happened, and then I went, I don't want to die. I don't want to fucking die. Like, what the fuck? I didn't want to die. I just want this to stop. And then this voice of this doctor.
You want to die in that moment.
Yeah, I wanted to not be me. I wanted to keep living because there's so much I wanted to do with my life, And then I picked up the phone and I called my mate. And she answered and was like, "Yeah, come round, my bed." Didn't tell her what I'd done until I'd got there. She then saw me caked in blood. I was like, I need cups of tea, loads of sugar, and some bandages, please. So I did it, and I ended up talking to her for hours and hours and hours, and then fell asleep on her living room floor. And then I woke up in the early hours. I tried to sneak out to finish the fucking job, which is shit. But she caught me. She's not fucking sit down. So then the next day I had an appointment with, which was one of my weekly appointments that were in Telford. Took me like 2 hours to drive to. We were talking about this earlier, when we medicated up to the eyeballs. I was on like 14 or 15 tablets a day at this point, antipsychotics and sleeping tablets and antidepressants. They weren't doing anything apart from sedating me. Like, my mind was doing exactly the same shit, it was tormenting me, but my body couldn't react. You know, I'd fall asleep for days on end. My parents would be fucking terrified thinking I was dead, or, you know, there was one incident where I think, it was my dad's birthday and we'd all been out for a meal, big family meal, and I just went bang in this restaurant facing my dinner mate. I fucking had no idea what was going on. So so the next morning after doing that, I woke up, and as they would every day, my parents would come in my room before they'd go work, check on me, see if I'd been in trouble, and they saw the state I was in, obviously covered in blood. So I was like, right, well, I've got my appointment today, I've got a funny feeling that I know what's going to happen. I thought I was going to get sectioned, so I packed a bag, and I was like, right, I'm going to drive. So I drove myself to my appointment, and I wasn't going to tell the doctor what had happened. It wasn't until I had a long sleeve shirt on, long sleeve hoodie, sorry, and he spotted a bit of bandage, and he was like, "What's that there?" Fuck, here we go, shit. And then it was rapid. Within probably 2 hours, a member of my regiment was tasked to fucking come pick me up, take me to Peterborough, the other side of the country, put me in a psychiatric ward at the military, sort of off a little wing of a psychiatric ward. That was it for me then. Everything, I was a pile of snot and tears, mate. I had nothing left, and that was then where fucking hell I realised how important the NHS are. Jeez, wow. These nurses, they literally kept me alive. 15-minute intervals, making sure I'd not tried to do anything, calm me down every time my aggression got bad. You know, I was fucking in such a bad way. And then there was other people as well in the ward, like military personnel that were in bad ways. One guy that could see someone walking around, and at this point, I wasn't having this, right? So I thought, this guy's talking to someone that wasn't there, and I was like, what the fuck? Whoa, he's in a bad way. It fucking didn't take long, and I started seeing someone that wasn't there. The guy I'd seen in Afghanistan, shot in the throat, who fucking followed me everywhere, and was in every single nightmare, every single night. As soon as I fell asleep, fucking there. It was horrible, mate. It was horrible to be in a room and be a patient where just hopeless at that point. Yeah, it was horrible, man.
Mate, like I've said, I've read your book cover to cover. I love it. I don't want to give too much away, and it's killing me. Not to give too much away, like, it kills me. You see, I love your book. But you get sectioned, you're there a while, you get out, you attempt again.
Yes.
We ain't going to get into that too much, I don't want to give nothing away, but you discharged from the army. But then there's one guy I want to talk about, and I know you want to talk about him as well.
Yeah.
Old Douglas.
Yeah, good man. So
he tells you telling your book a phenomenal story of his level of care, what he does for you.
Yeah, this guy deserves a knighthood.
So you're overweight, you're 17 stone due to the tablets, and obviously the booze ain't going to help.
Yeah. You're
sweating a lot, very self-conscious about being in public.
Yeah, massively so. Yeah, it was another element to how I was feeling. I was already paranoid and anxious every waking moment as it was, but having these sweats, so the medication was just making me sweat like fuck, and I never felt full ever, so I just eat, and that's how it led to that point. So one day I had an appointment with Doug, and it was in a hospital, and he said, "Ted, do you want to go and get a brew this morning? We'll go and we'll have a brew in the cafe, we'll have a little chat. So I was like, yeah, sounds. I had no idea what was coming whatsoever. It was the week before that I told him about all this stuff, about having like sweat patches and like being really self-conscious about it. So the cafe was mega busy, which was already a trigger for me. I hated any. I couldn't deal with busy places. There was too much going on. And my head was constantly on this swivel still, where I was assessing every single thing and every single person for danger. So he said, right, sit down there, I'll be back in a minute, I'm just going to go to the toilet. And he was like, try not to go on your phone, because it's a bad coping mechanism. So I'm like, right, okay, yeah, I'm going to do what he says. It's the only way I'm going to get better is doing what this guy says. Take it as advice, he knows, he's the expert. So I sat there, phone in my pocket, and just sort of looking round and just people watching and shit. Next minute, he comes back, he takes his coat off, takes his jumper off, and underneath it, he's got his light blue shirt. And he soaked his armpits completely, like it was ridiculous, like all the way down here. He soaked them, and he sat there with his hands behind his head, and he was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "You're a prick." So he was like, "Does anyone have a look?" He was like, "Does anyone seem to be giving a shit that like I've got sweaty armpits?" And I was like, "No one cares. They're just getting on with their day." And it just made me feel like you said then. I was like, this guy's willing to go so far to help me that he deserves every inch of me. He deserves every ounce of effort that I've got. And I was so lucky. So I had that sort of period of therapy with him, and then obviously moved abroad and went travelling and sort of did my own sort of looking into stuff, my own therapies. And then when I actually got back into therapy again, years later, it was him. Yeah. And I could not believe it. It couldn't have gone better. I was so grateful that he was going to be in charge of my mental health.
Right, that level of care he gave you, like, it's inspiring.
Yeah, it really is.
Doug, I'm after a new doctor. Do a show, please. But honestly, like, he went above and beyond for you. Like, that story,
yeah,
I remember I wanted to say it today because the level of care he's giving you,
yeah,
he doesn't have to give you. It could have just been a box ticking exercise. We'll see you next week, Ted. Have this medication.
Yeah.
You're sweating. It's just side effects. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Learn to live with it.
There's so many lads that I know as well who have seen him and had their problems squashed by him. It was mad. And here, like, so today we're recording, we're in Stafford. Me being in Peterborough Hospital, I was then transferred here to Stafford, to the psychiatric ward here, and there was another nurse here, Lucy, who showed that, like, and these are just examples of like how much care and stuff that one I needed, but how much they gave, and it went beyond a job. Stafford Hospital, there was one nurse in particular, Lucy, who just went above and beyond to deal with my rage and anger. She went out, spent her own money, bought me boxing gloves, and she was like, "Right, come and punch through this fence." And I just couldn't. Like, it was those sort of things that I needed, and it's something that when I'm talking about people speaking up and saying I need help, that's the kind of help that's available. Someone that genuinely cares so much, even though they don't know you, it's their job. So I'd suggest it to anyone, really, is speak up. Forget the stigma and fuck all that stuff. Because the most important thing is your well-being, and if you don't deal with it, it can end up snowballing to a position where you think you're unworthy of help, or you don't even want it. You're beyond it. You think you're beyond help.
It's hard, mate, because I've been through a lot of care in the NHS. Like,
yeah,
as you know, I'm bipolar. Like, my level of care is tricky. But before I was diagnosed, I went through every song and dance possible. Going to the GP saying, "I'm going to kill myself. Like, I am not feeling well. Like, you're a bit young to be feeling that way. You've got no trauma. You've not been through anything. You shouldn't be feeling that way.
Yeah.
Here's some antidepressants. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time."
Yeah.
And then, because of so many bad experiences, there is a good few out there, like Doug, like Lucy.
Yeah.
They get tarnished with the same brush, and it's a shame.
Very much so.
It's a shame. I think everyone in that job should be like them.
Yeah. God, yeah. They're a special kind of people.
Yeah.
They really are. It's I'm so grateful to them. That's one thing that's helped me get better over time, to be honest, is gratitude. Big thing, yeah. I am grateful now for every day. To be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah, every single day. Once you've, when you've reached that point where you want to die, fucking hell, it's unimaginable to me now. Like, I'm so glad things have worked out the way they have, and then, I've been able to write a book. I've never read a book in my life.
Yeah.
Never read one apart from my own. But yeah, what a freeing experience that is, which is something that I'm going to be talking about through my social media and stuff. Once the books come out and I can actually sort of engage with people who've read it and stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
Of
course,
obviously you've read it yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited for people to read it, and then I can move on then to what I want to be doing. Like, so I'm going to be touring the country, doing talks and stuff like that, because I want to help people, because people need help, and it's not always easy to take advice off, your mate or someone else. So I think that being in a position where I've got these sort of platforms now where I can speak to sort of wide audiences and promote what actually helps and what can be done, I think it's important. I think it's an important message. Along those lines, actually, have you seen the hashtag that I've started doing?
Go on.
So I accidentally started a hashtag a few months ago now called #crapfriend. Right, so I talk about, when you're finding it really difficult to talk to someone.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick up your phone and ring your mate and go, "Hiya mate, I feel like dog shit, can you come and sit with me," or whatever. To actually pick that phone up is such a difficult thing to do, whereas texting someone a picture of a dog shit emoji is a lot easier. So I'm trying to start this thing now, #crapfriend, where I text you the dog shit emoji. It means I feel like shit, mate. I can't get the words out, but I could do with a phone call. And it's something that's so easy to do.
With that, mate, I'll back that.
Yeah, mate. It'll be on a t-shirt.
I believe in, mate. Talking about, because you could look through your phone book and there's fucking probably 10 lads in there you can phone, but you just never want to. You're scared. You don't know where to start.
Yeah.
You don't want to burden them.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
It's a tricky one, isn't
I'm
it?
going to open a can now for you.
Go on.
2 days ago,
Yeah.
I was suicidal.
Right.
Bad.
Fucking hell.
I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
I had my hands on my head. I was telling the voices to stop.
Yeah.
And I had no one. Do you know, I have, but I ain't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much so, mate. Yeah, I was surrounded by people and I felt so lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know I could have fucking called my brother, anything,
Yeah.
they'd have rocked up immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
But I felt stupid.
That's it, yeah. It's actually reaching out, isn't it? And like, putting into words. Like, I've gone to ring the Samaritans before now at 3 o'clock in the morning and just gone, I don't know what I'm going to fucking say, actually. Yeah, fuck no. And I've hung up.
Mate, it got to the point, like, I was fucking... I don't keep a lot of tablets in the house anymore because of my own past behaviours, but I was googling, fucking how many tablets is it actually going to take to finish me off?
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking, should I just go for a walk and just step out somewhere in
Yeah.
front of a fucking lorry? Like, I was bad.
And it's that sort of thing happens so quickly, doesn't it, at the onset of it?
Yeah, and I deteriorated very quickly. My thoughts took over me, and like, I just fucking wanted my voices to fucking stop in my head, but nothing would.
Yeah. Have you tried meditating?
I don't have the concentration.
Yeah.
Because the voices in my head, like I said to you earlier on, I've always got music on.
Yeah.
That's to silence everything in my head.
Yeah.
It's like a concentration thing for me. Like, I can hear that, and that's the only thing I can hear is the music.
Yeah, got ya.
Do you know what I mean? Like I said, everything I do, I'm involved with music, or I've got a podcast on in the background. Like,
it's
I need something,
Yeah.
Even a lot of time going to sleep, I'll have the telly on.
Yeah.
Just for that noise.
Yeah.
Because if I try and close my eyes and go, actually, no, it's sleep time, the voices will go, well,
oh, hello.
let's have a think about this.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Imagine how shit this would be.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's tricky, mate, and that was something I had to work really hard on, was not getting hooked by them thoughts or that internal monologue. It was very difficult, but a massive part was, so through all of this I've had a negative, sort of like all my struggle time, a negative internal monologue, Whereas now I don't. My internal monologue is a positive one.
Yeah.
And that is something I didn't think could change, but it actually can. It really can fucking change me.
Mate, I'm going to jump on that hashtag with you. That's a brilliant idea. Just, I can send you that hashtag. You know there's something wrong with me. You just know to come. You ain't even got to ask me what's wrong.
No.
Just a fucking conversation.
Just not feeling good,
to
mate.
know you're not alone.
That's it. That is all it takes. Because half the time, I wouldn't need a conversation. I would just need to know that if I really needed it, someone was there. So I sent that, and someone texted me back going, "You okay, mate?" That's it.
Yeah.
That anxiety and that pressure is already in half.
Like I've got my missus. It's hard to explain to someone like me having bipolar, or even if you're depressed or anything. The episodes I go into, it's hard explaining why I feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Like why do you want to kill yourself?
Yeah.
I just want to. Like I feel fucking shit.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be here no more. And I feel a fucking burden. I cannot stand the feeling of fucking hating myself anymore.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like that though? Look, I can't explain. And my missus is good as gold. She's understanding. Each week goes by, and I try and communicate the best I can, which isn't fucking easy.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes you are just fucking low for no reason.
Yeah, that's it. And that's such an important lesson to learn, that the happiest person on earth, Elon Musk has shit days, mate. Do you know what I mean? He's got all the money in the world, he'll have shit days. And something that we do when we're struggling with mental health is that we like magnify things. So for instance, I would have a shit day, and it would start this process of thoughts where I would constantly assess that day and my thoughts and go, that feels like this when it was really bad. And then before long, I'd be going, shit, this is going to be a bad one, and this might last months. And then the next day I wake up and I'm fucking fine. And the reality is, there's always dips and troughs, you know, that sort of thing. There's ups and downs in life. It's
a journey, just keep moving.
Yeah, it's imperative to stay positive, because negativity breeds negativity. You know, and I think once we let that in, and we don't have the energy to sort of fight it. I say fight it. I don't like saying the word fighting against it, because it seems like it's this fucking thing that you really have to try. The best stuff I ever did, right? So there's sort of a meditation technique where I would imagine I was sat on top of a mountain, and all these thoughts were clouds that were just drifting through the air. And if there was a cloud, which was a thought that I didn't want to see or didn't like, felt negative, whatever, I'd imagine I had this giant, it sounds mad, but it works. I had this giant feather, and I'm sat on this mountain, and I just brush these clouds away really gently. So I'm not going to fuck off, I don't want to think about that. Because if I was to, for instance, this is in the book, say, right, don't think about purple elephant, and then instantly you've got purple elephant in your head, and then the more you go, I don't want to think about purple elephant, the fucking purple elephant is there, and it's more and more prominent. And that's exactly the same, you know. Your brain can't decipher whether you're telling yourself something or I'm telling it. So if you say, shut the fuck up, dickhead, to yourself, it might as well be me going, shut the fuck up, dickhead. It's the exact same fucking thing. So if we sort of make our internal world a positive one, and one of a slow-paced piece, we're in more control, and it allowed me to have that sort of, what we call like a condor moment, where you can sort of step back a bit in a situation, a stressful situation, or one where I'd be struggling with mental health, and actually go, what is this? You know, why am I feeling like this? What's triggered this? It might be something I've watched on the telly. It might be I've heard the news and that's put me in a shit mood. It might be I saw something that reminded me of pulling the trigger, or you know, any of these sort of things. And it's important for me. It was important for me not to ruminate on these things, so constantly think about it over and over again. The less I seemed, not the less I seemed to give a fuck, but the less I seemed to engage with it, the less frequent it became.
Yeah.
And then overall, after a while, it just fucked off.
Things easier.
Time's very, it's a big factor of it being, it is. But positivity and fucking having crap friends around you.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I'm jumping on that with you. But yeah, back to the book. So, Doug, then you go travelling, which I loved reading about. Some of the stories are funny.
Yeah.
That's for the book. They are great. But your mental health creeps up in you. You know, you try scrap the medication, you go to meditation, bit of cannabis,
Yes.
trying what works for you, trial and error. Obviously you meet that friend in Austria, that contact who's going through different kinds of therapy with you.
Yeah.
You've got all these things going on, and you're coming at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
You're learning to live with PTSD.
Yeah, it's sort of, after travelling, I came back, and once I got back home to where I was from, it sort of flooded back in again. I tried to talk about it in a way of, long story cut short, there was this charity that I was going to be a part of, and it was just, early days, that was going to be very PTSD orientated, help other people in my situation. So I thought I was ready, but in hindsight I knew I wasn't quite, and I opened up, and it opened up this kind of worms, mate, that fucking hit me like a freight train. Which is then when, so I started with the sort of spirituality side of things. So the lady in Austria, she was my sort of spiritual mentor, which really fucking helped. Really helped. It allowed me to think differently about things. That then combined with the alternative medications like cannabis, for instance. So I get prescription now for cannabis, microdosing psilocybin, so magic mushrooms, and then DMT, dimethyltryptamine. They were three things that were big conductors in change, to be honest, for me. And then back in with Doug for a relentless 2 years of weekly therapy sessions with him. And I managed to kick it, and now I've got my life back. I've not got a single symptom of it. It's gone. It is gone. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to talk about these things. I wouldn't have been able to write the book. So, trauma, or things like trauma, negative impacts on your life, they can go. You need to talk about them.
Yeah,
that's it. All I've done, I've not done anything magical. All I've done is talk. That was it, over and over and over again. I've just talked about it, and every time it becomes easier and easier, to the point where I was forgetting shit. I was forgetting some crucial fucking information.
Shit, what used to haunt you.
Yeah. I can't remember it.
But no, it shows positive change.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what it's all about, mate. So now, I'm not going to be getting involved too much in helping other people, because it has in the past bitten me in the ass with it's brought on my own mental health issues and stuff, because I've got to protect my energy.
Of course,
As much as I want other people to improve in their mental health and their mental well-being and stuff, which is why I wrote this book, which you can read it and sort of get some little insights and tips and stuff. And then, like I was mentioning earlier, I've started secretly on the second book.
And mate, I want that first copy again. I need that first copy. But mate, last two questions.
Yeah.
I can sit here and talk to you all day.
Yeah, bloody hell.
I can sit and talk all day to you because I find you so interesting and so engaging. Last two questions. First one, what would you say to anyone now struggling?
Struggling now? Oh my God, would be speak up, because first of all, it's not as fucking scary as you think. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Someone going, oh, he's mad. Well, in a minute they're going, he's fucking miserable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's going to have an opinion, and if you start giving a shit about what other people are thinking, it's never going to end well. The most important person in your life is you. Regardless of if you've got wives, kids, that sort of stuff, none of that will exist if it's not for you. So for me, it would be meditation, speaking out, breath work, which is a massive one for me. When I used to feel like anxiety or a panic attack or something, learning, so like box breathing, for instance, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, that sort of thing. There's another one, 5, 7, 8, in for 5, hold it for 7, release it for 8. These are things that within 20 seconds or so, you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Like instantly. So that, use #crapfriend. Use that. Send your friend a dog shit emoji. And hopefully this will circulate and it will become a known thing where, if someone sends you just a picture of the poop, they need your help. Give them a bell. Apart from that, mate, I would say live a positive life. Be grateful. So for me, waking up in the morning and having little tasks that I'll accomplish throughout the day, be that, washing the fucking pots, or, putting your laundry away or taking the dog for a walk. These sort of things are little wins, mate. And if you get 20 of them in a day, you can't not be happy.
Of course.
You're accomplishing things.
So, last question.
Yeah.
You today, with your mindset, your positivity, you being healed.
Yes.
You can go back to the weakest you, the rock bottom you. Perhaps you sat in that car with that knife in your arm.
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself?
Oh my God, don't do it. Don't do it. I would, honest to God, nothing good could have come of that. Nothing good. Nothing but pain and anguish and a lifetime. Other people's lifetimes of pain would have come from that. Don't do it, because it does get there. You've literally just got to do the work. That was it. That would be the advice I'd give myself. Do the fucking work.
Yeah.
And that comes in many shapes and forms, but always starts with talking. Always be that to family, friends, whoever. Talk and talk honestly, because if you're talking to your mate about something that, like for instance, you there just saying like that you felt like killing yourself. It might be hard or difficult to get that out, but the reaction that you'll get of telling a friend or telling anybody that you're feeling low is always going to be a positive one, and it's always going to allow you that moment to step back and see things from a different perspective. So yeah, I would tell myself to stop honing in so much. Fucking zoom out, look at the bigger picture. The world's amazing. There's so many amazing things to do in it, you know, like buying Afghanistan Sniper, Trauma on the Front Line and Beyond.
I agree.
Available for pre-order now.
But thank you, Ted, for coming on.
My absolute pleasure.
Honestly, I fucking loved it, as you can tell.
I know. It's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah, as like before I started this podcast, I was lining some guests up. I come across you. No pictures on your profile, very secret. You was like, I've got a book coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Sounds down the line, you've sent me the book. It turned out to I'm the only person who's got the book.
Yes.
Very honoured.
Yeah.
Fucking ready to cover to cover. I've told so many people about it who listen. The
thanks.
stories amaze me in there. We've touched 10% of that book.
Yeah.
Of what we spoke about. And I could have sit there and spoke all day about it.
All day.
Because it's been a real page turner, especially for someone who doesn't read, because I can't concentrate.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
Yeah. That's a good review. No,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I'll go on the cover.
Yeah.
But no, Ted, anything to finish on?
Anything to finish on? The book is available everywhere, be that in store or online. My social medias, I'm sure you'll tag me and stuff like that. But I'm more than happy to sort of, like, I'm replying to messages day in, day out of people, and you know, the support and stuff that I'm getting has been amazing. So please do reach out, let me know that you've seen this, and let me know what you think of the book when it's out November 30th. Cheers.
Cheers, Ted, for coming, mate.
Cheers, bro.
Thank you for listening to From Rock Bottom. If this episode spoke to you, please subscribe, like and share. It really helps us keep doing this work and bringing these stories to light. You can also follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and ways to get involved in the conversation. Most importantly, if you're struggling right now, please don't suffer in silence. Reach out, talk to someone, seek support. You are not alone, and you are absolutely worth life. Take care, keep fighting, and we'll see you in the next episode.